Greetings, weary traveler, come, warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and of course, tales of Tamriel. I'm your host, Arkhaniir, and we are back with an all-new episode, with an all-new overlay, and a lot of new stuff that we'll talk about in a bit. But first, let me introduce my host, starting with Lotus of Doom, the man, the myth, the legend. How's it going, Lotus?
Going pretty well. Loving the new layout for video stuff. If you listen to us on audio, everything is the same. But know that if you could see us, it looks much prettier. Ark did a lot of good work.
We are gonna get there in a bit. Also joining us, the joy of the show, the giggle queen herself that I in no way retaliated or trolled. How are you doing, Pixie?
I was doing fantastic until apparently I missed something that you did, and nobody is telling me what happened, and I'm very concerned. I don't know what happened just now.
Well, nothing happened.
Something definitely happened. I can see in the chat that something absolutely happened.
No, nothing happened. See, when you first changed my name in your Discord, I did say that I might do stuff, I may not do stuff, you may or may not know what I did, and, you know.
How ambiguous.
It is like Elder Scrolls lore. Maybe I
just tell me, so I'm not spending the entire show going through Discord and figuring out what is going on.
Okay, so I forgot. Remember how I had a massive pre-show writing in the pre-intro slideshow while the music plays.
Yes.
So I realized I forgot that as we, went on with the show, and then I thought before I remove it, I should write stuff on the screen. Also, Lotus, you are blending in with the background again.
I know, periodically I'm becoming a ghost, and I'm not sure why.
I don't even have a green screen, chroma key setup.
See, now I'm back. I don't know what's
cameras. So I don't know how you are managing to get green screen effect without me having any chroma key setups.
It's a talent, I guess.
Donna says,
so what did you write, Ark?
What do you think I wrote?
Did you write "Here Comes the PP"?
Oh, I forgot to write that. I should have wrote that as well. I just wrote Pixie Packed and HyperPacked Gaming.
No! See, whenever they said it was visual, I thought you put some kind of crazy picture of me that's been photoshopped up, and so I'm slightly relieved.
I know my boundaries. I
mean, what did Lotus and I do to you in Vegas?
That's true. You were there with us in spirit.
In his elven armor.
Yes, in your elven armor.
So you don't know your boundaries. Wow.
I
should not have known my boundaries.
That was his idea.
Of course,
that was Lotus's idea. And I feel like you won't go after him because he is on your side with the pact thing. So I don't feel bad throwing him under the bus.
It's weird being equally a griefing force in this war and also being on both people's sides because I don't really have... I don't personally have any problem with Altmers specifically, but I do if they're in the wrong alliance, and generally they're always in the wrong alliance, so it's got to be packed all the time.
See, the thing is, and this is I've told people this, I don't have a problem with the Ebonheart Pact, I just prefer the Aldmeria Dominion, but Ark has such a strong unhappiness with the Ebonheart Pact that it's kind of hard to not troll him.
This is all because of Agelos, which I'll talk about in Tales. Okay, we have a show.
Yeah, we totally did it.
Yeah. So before we begin, I gotta give a shout out to some people who are supporting us over at Patreon and Twitch. So Scooter is our newest Patreon on patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork. He was actually a very long time Patreon supporter before we had to restart Patreon. And apparently he didn't realize that we did that. So he thought he was still a Patreon all this time. But once he did, he resubbed. And thank you so much, man. Much appreciated. And welcome to the Torchbearers. Also, on Twitch, X4PL, once again, thank you so much for joining the ranks of Torchbearers and help supporting us. But also to Berserkzord and Pushing Pixels for gifting subs here in the community. Much, much appreciated. These are all only the first subs, by the way. Everyone who keeps resubbing every month, thank you so much. You help keep the metaphorical torches lit, hence the name Torchbearer from now on. And we really, really do appreciate it. That said, there's a review that I really, really do not want to read. It is 5 stars. I just don't want to read it. So I'm gonna let Lotus read it because, you know, I, however, really appreciate the review slaps only. And to read it, it's nice and concise and to the point. Arkhaniir is the best host.
I see nothing offensive about this. Arkhaniir is our host's preferred name, and he's done all of these fantastic overlays. He does all of our editing and works so hard for the show and puts in so much work to make the show what it is. And I think you called him by his favorite name, and you gave us a nice 5-star review, and you gave a shout out to the soul of the show, and thank you so much, Slaps.
Yep.
Insulting and applauding someone in the same sentence is an art, and all of you are somehow very good at it. And Slap says Ark should read it, so since it's great show, Arkhaniir is the best host. 5 stars. Thank you, Slaps. Thank you. Oh, well, it is what it is. We can't pick and choose our reviews, you know. It's
Yep.
So everybody should make that a thing where you just troll Ark during the reviews. Make him read his own trolling online.
I mean, 5-star reviews do really help because it tells people that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes it matters, as we always say during the outro.
I was going to say, is this the outro? Are we done?
Yeah, that's the show. That's the show. Done. I can't take this anymore.
Now that we did the overlay, that's our last show.
Yeah.
Ark has rage quit the podcast.
Oh, goodness me. Also, I feel like I'm forgetting something because we've done a lot of new things here. So I'm constantly checking, like, is the recording up? Is the stream going? Am I forgetting something? But everything seems to be on order. So, yeah. That said, we got a lot of behind-the-scenes update as well. We've been talking about this overlay, the work I've been doing in terms of art behind the scenes, which is also why we skipped the show last week. So let's talk about that a little bit. So first of all, the new overlay. Now this, as Lotus mentioned in the, I don't even know if it was pre-show or during the actual show, but we got a whole new overlay for all of our video video watchers and all of you who join us live. Now the reason for that is I do a lot of editing for the audio version. I do like try my best to get the audio as better as possible and add some flavor to it. But Twitch side, basically the live show, really helps us in terms of getting to new audiences, like get us in the Elder Scrolls Online directory, help us interact with chat, because we can't really do that with audio form unless you send us emails, join our Discord, follow us on Twitter, send us messages and things like that, all of which you should do if you want. So I want to add a bit more to the live show experience. So we got a whole new overlay. It'll be more dynamic. I have the show notes actually on the overlay that I am actively updating with check marks and arrows to let people know what we are doing and what we are talking about. And we have, well, people haven't seen it yet. It's going to be showcased in the news, but we'll have a dynamic section in the middle where we usually show screenshots. and all the things like that. As well as I've been making new emotes for the show for Twitch subscribers. It involves a dumpster fire, an axe. I'm working on more stuff, but obviously the dumpster fire is our favorite, considering how our show has issues every single show.
It's good to finally see a visual representation of our show in action.
Yeah. So if we can have some of that in chat, Isha with it right off the bat.
Yep.
So yeah, doing some new stuff for the show, for the live streams as well. So I'm streaming more. There's now a fixed schedule with Elder Scrolls Online streams as well as other games. Basically what I'm trying to say is, if you haven't followed us over at twitch.tv/dungeoncrawlernetwork yet, you can follow us there. Even if you just lurk, it helps us grow our community by, reaching to more people. So everything is appreciated. Tell a friend about us, bring them here too, let them join the dumpster fires, things like that. So yeah, that was pretty much the behind the scenes update that I was gonna talk about. There are also new stuff coming. More stuff coming that I can't yet talk about. But basically stay tuned for the week of Greymoor release. We will have some very new and exciting, hopefully, stuff to talk about, showcase, and things like that. Oh, look at that. I'm updating it as we go. There we go. Check mark on behind the scenes update.
Oh my. Oh, wow. My mind is blown. Oh my God. It's got a little arrow pointing at things that are happening.
Yeah.
Amazing.
This is actually too much for me.
This is way too high class.
Professional.
Yeah, I need to spill a drink on my computer to ruin something. That's the only way.
And you already threw the burrito at your dog earlier. So.
Well, that's true. She came in for the swoop as soon as I dropped a bean on the floor.
I mean, the dynamic showcase panel that I mentioned will probably it has a high chance of breaking stuff. So stay tuned. The show is young. So, all right. Anything you guys want to add to all that? Well, I mean, that was behind the scenes stuff. So that was basically why we skipped the show last week, because I was dealing with editing the. Actually, let's mention that as well. So when you become a Patreon supporter or Twitch subscriber, basically a torchbearer, you get exclusive content as well. Let me put it like shameless self-advertisement there, sneak it in there. You get exclusive content, you get a special Discord channel, things like that. And the financial support we get goes back into the show, unless it somehow ends up becoming a huge amount that I can start pocketing. But we have a lot of things planned, so as the budget increases, we'll put it back on the show, and well, not just this show, but Dungeon Crawler Network in general. So keep that in mind as well. All right, time for the news, because we do have a lot to talk about, and I am quite excited about trying to showcase that new thing. So initially, starting with, we have the Crown Store Showcase May. Now, we are recording this at 17th of May. So some of these stuff are already in the Crown Store, and by the time this show is released, they will probably be off the Crown Store. But here, as you can see, instead of just talk about the Crown Store Showcase and the items we are looking at, they are now can be seen on the overlay on video formats. That's Twitch and YouTube. But we'll still do our best to describe them, the important stuff for audio listeners as well. First of all, don't forget, if you're an ESO Plus subscriber, don't forget to get your free statuette, which is this week not a Daedric Prince. It's actually the mermaid in the city of Anvil. I actually don't know if there's a significance to it other than it's just a statue in Anvil.
She's pretty.
She is, yeah. I don't know if there's a lore part to it, but it will be available until June 4th. Hold on. There's a cat fur in my mouth. They're everywhere now.
Dumpster fire incoming.
No, it's fine.
Earlier, Kinara is like, is this Ark's way of saying no more dumpster fires? And no.
Certainly not. No.
I don't think that's ever going to be a thing. Like, no dumpster fires. Unless we somehow make the connection between us superb across 7,000 miles, like with new technology or something like that, dumpster fires will continue to happen.
Yeah, unless you somehow move to the east coast of the United States, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah. So another item that's gonna be on the Crown Store, assuming I edit this out tomorrow and release it before Monday, it will be available limited time from May 21 to June 1, and it's gonna be Crown Gem exclusive. This is called the Ice Ridge Wicker Steed, which looks like a horse made out of trees, like trunks.
It's really cool.
I don't know how to explain it, but it looks like a scarecrow but a horse.
So if you've been into the 2 new dungeons for Harrowstorm, you get an emote that is Wicker Man, and your tune will pull out this like voodoo doll looking thing made out of some small sticks. So it's essentially take that voodoo doll, and instead of a tiny voodoo doll, make it a horse, and that's this mount. And it's really cool looking. It has that Ice Reach Coven feel. So if you remember Mama C's mask that you get from the Ice Reach Dungeon 2 on Vet, same kind of motif there. It looks really cool.
Well, thank you for actually properly explaining that instead of a horse made out of trees.
Well, whenever I hear horse made out of trees, I think the Wild Hunt crown crates. That's why I wanted to expand a bit.
I see.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
See, when I think of Wicker Man, this is going to be the weirdest reference that's probably ever I don't know if anybody has ever watched the show The Golden Girls from the 80s, but all of their furniture is made of wicker, which is just outdoor porch furniture, and that's all I think of. So I just assumed they're furniture creatures.
I didn't know that wicker was a material kind of like thing until now.
It's like a stick. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's a new word.
Point, obviously, what Pixie was describing. Like,
every time I hear the phrase Wicker Man, I think of this song by Elton John, Rocket Man, but subbing out the words Rocket Man for Wicker Man, and that just plays in my head a few times. And that's how my brain works.
Great. Yeah. I mean, it's proper Tales of Tamriel brain. It's good.
Also, being that, yes, there's also a Nicolas Cage movie that's terrible where he screams about bees a lot called Wicker Man. But yeah, don't watch it. Or do if you like crap movies. But all I was going to say, just since most of this is wildly off topic, I wanted to just shout out the fact that I learned something from chat that I guess is valuable in terms of things. You mentioned the mermaid. Delta actually put the lore of it because he looked it up because he was curious. The lore of the mermaid of Anvil is actually that no one knows who made it or where it came from, though it's much older than Anvil itself. So apparently there is no explanation.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, that is solid lore right there.
Yeah, so
thank you, Delta.
Thank you, Delta, for looking that up. Yeah.
I think the mermaids made it. Or the Malmer. The Malmer
I hope it wasn't the Malmer. But it's possible, I guess.
Are there any elves you do like that you're just okay with? That you can just, they're just tolerable?
I'm okay with Bosmer, and I'm okay with Most Dunmer.
I mean, that's something that we can work with. The Bosmer are with the Dominion, so...
Something we can work with. Yeah, in other words, we can get them to bail on the Dominion.
Like the Bosmer, they mostly keep it to their woods, which is okay. And they kind of eat other Bosmer, which means the more Bosmer there are, the less Bosmer there are, which means they reduce, like, they eat Aldmere Dominion members at the end of the day. So that's like, okay.
Speaking of recycling.
The people who didn't hear the pre-show is going to have no idea where that came from. For those of you who didn't, There, on our little dumpster fire emotes on Twitch, it's been pointed out to us that we have a recycling logo on the front of them because we care about the planet, clearly, and not because
we wanted to acknowledge the Bottomer, obviously.
So, yeah. Okay, moving on with the Crown Store Showcase. Another item that's going to be limited during May 28th to June 1st is the Silver Dawn crafting motif. But they are werewolf hunters, so it's an ugly motif. I hate it. I don't like it. And we are moving on.
So the only thing I will say about that specific motif, because I just dealt with this during the period of time from our last show, where I needed to farm Moonhunter Keep, which is the dungeon you get that motif from. I had 15 of the 16 pages. I accidentally activated a master writ that required the only page I don't have, which was the shoulders. And I was like, oh, I don't really feel like farming Moonhunter Keep. So I then went and tried to purchase it. And the cheapest price was 150 grand just for the shoulder motif. Oh, apparently it's one of the most coveted shoulder motifs in the game because it has little wolf heads on each of the shoulders. So, yeah, I didn't pay for that and then farmed Moonhunter Keep. A lot. The end. Moving on.
I'm so sorry.
There's also the black... Yeah.
I was going to say, very brief side tangent. Did the second to last boss bug out for you, or is it working fine?
So our solution was to hit it so hard that we skipped the mechanic.
Okay.
So I don't know, because it did duff more than once, and we got... It worked sometimes, didn't sometimes. So our solution for everything except hard mode, because I don't know if you can nuke anything that... I think she goes invincible, if I remember correctly. But we did have some issues on the hard mode, because that's a guaranteed drop.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes the hard mode would... there's the well-known issue where it won't spawn... Like, one of them will be blank, and you just have to know that that's actually the one that's not showing the symbol. We actually had one of our runs where there were only two of the correct symbols, and we're like, oh, come on. Like, and so...
Even harder mode.
Yeah. Even harder mode.
The hardest mode.
But yeah, it only happened a couple times. It wasn't notoriously hiding them, but it was just like, ugh. Yeah, that doesn't work. That's pretty crushing.
Super extra hard mode.
Sorry to derail there. I'm just wondering if it was fixed, because I would really like to finish that one.
Yeah, you can burn. I mean, if you hit the mage really hard, you can kind of bypass that crap. But yeah, if you try to do hard mode, you're gonna have to do it the right way at least once.
Darn.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm thinking about how frequently should I use the actively derailing show notes.
I told you it'll never be off the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even bother trying to put the arrow by it, because it's just going to happen just intermittently throughout the whole show. Because then you'll just be messing with arrows all night.
Yeah, true. Well, we'll figure something out about it. Okay, so another motif that will be on the Crown Store for a limited time is the Black Reach Wanggaard crafting motif. It's going to be coming 26th of May until June 9 with Greymoor update, actually. So it's not going to be... Well, I mean, 26th of May is Greymoor. Oh, no, wait. It's going to be available from 26th of May with update 26 for PC. And then June 9 for Xbox and PlayStation 4, because that's when the thing happens for consoles. So unfortunately, the Sword, the Elder Scrolls Artifact Sinweaver is no longer available on Crown Store. It was until May 11. Same with the Balor. No, wait. Balor Arms Pack is going to be available from May 27 to June 24, actually. It's going to be a limited time as well. Moving forward, Gem Prospector is no longer available. Thank you, Luna Spear, for gifting me one during one of our trial runs, but more details on that during Tales. Moonsugar Festival Suit. Now, this is still, during the live show, still on the Crown Store, but it may not be when this show goes, like the recorded version goes live or released. Ice Reach Mask Pack, it's going to be available from May 21st to May 26th. It looks super creepy. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a Slipknot mask.
So, oh, right, this is important. As usual, as with every new expansion, the previous expansion, which is elsewhere, will be available on the Crown Store and also in ESO Plus, I assume. Now, it doesn't really say that, but the previous ones were available with ESO Plus, so I assume this will be as well. When Greymoor releases, Elsewhere expansion will be embedded into the... As a DLC, it will be available as a DLC. But you will still need to buy Necromancer with crowns from Crown Store. So they will, like, if you get the DLC or if you have ESO Plus, you still won't be able to play Necromancer. You'll be able to buy it individually. Furniture, again, this is gonna be out of Crown Store tomorrow. It's the Pride of Alkosh statue returning to the Crown Store. It is a very big Khajiit statue. I don't know who that is. It's an important Khajiit person.
Mm-hmm.
Greymoor Wolf Pup, again, almost out of the Crown Store. This weird looking, this is one of the weirdest creatures in Tamriel. This is the Alabaster Jerboa.
You mean one of the cutest creatures in Tamriel?
No. So it's a very tiny kangaroo rabbit hamster thing.
Yes.
Tail looks like a plug. Like
okay, if we ignore what Lotus just said, that's so it can hop better, Lotus.
Okay,
we have to charge your jerboa so it can hop faster.
Done. Okay, noted.
It has kangaroo legs. It has an audio jack for a tail. It has, I don't even know what ears is that, and it kind of has a rabbit/hamster face. I don't know.
It's a bunny rat, as Isha put in chat.
Isn't there like a kangaroo rat like in real life that's a thing?
Please don't tell me this is a real life thing.
Yeah,
no, I'm pretty. It's a real life thing.
Or something.
Oh no, please no.
Yeah, it's a real. No, a jerboa is actually a thing, and they're freaking adorable.
Okay,
yes.
I have to Google this. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Prime real estate for audio listeners. Let's just Google a jerboa real fast.
Oh my god.
Everyone, if you're an audio listener, Google jerboa and you will not be disappointed if you're like me.
It'll be like you're here with us.
The cutest things.
Oh my god.
Somebody made a Lotus jerboa, which I really appreciated. What?
I mean,
which ones are you guys looking at?
Look, I typed in jerboa, and on Wikipedia, it looks like it just finished vomiting or it's screaming at the camera. I'm not sure which, but it's horrifying.
I'm trying to find the Wikipedia image.
I mean, if I saw this in real life, I would be very confused and probably start running away thinking that this thing could jump to my face.
Why is everyone so terrified of it?
It looks like it can jump it looks like it's a rat that can jump very high. I don't like this. I'm not
like it doesn't have the skin tail.
I'm not happy with the knowledge that this is a real life animal. It's
well, to be fair, Ark, I'm sure you're safe as long as it's not fully charged. As long as they don't plug it in, charge it up. I bet it won't have the power to reach the face. It'll probably bump into your knee or something. So you'll be fine.
Captain Agus in chat says it's like a real life Daedra.
How?
It's weird. It's Okay, moving on. I don't like that.
Moving on.
Yeah. So the
I
Gloomspore
don't
Bear
see what's
Cup.
not to like there.
No,
to be honest.
no. Moving on. I'm sorry. This is,
Really
I don't
quick,
like
and
that animal.
you might want to edit this part out, but I'm being told that I sound kind of echoey with my mic. Do you want me to switch back to RTX voice? Because I know I'm in this weird corner where everything's probably bouncing off walls because of the roof leak issue. So I don't know how it sounds to audio listeners, or if that's something you can use your audio magic with. Ark, I just got whispered and told that I sound echoey.
I don't hear any echo, to be honest.
Yeah, you sound okay on my end. That's why I'm curious. Because usually chat ends up hearing what should be heard, and we get weird robots and all sorts of weird stuff that we just kind of gloss over unless chat lets us know.
I mean, I would have been okay with RTX voice, but when you went AFK on your stream and came back, it started trying to silence your talking, and it started to sound really weird. So it was like it was like registering your voice as if it was background audio. Right. I don't know why it did that, but it was like you were getting cut off, your audio was getting all messed up. So like I can probably work with echo, but I can't work with RTX voice. Like RTX voice is superior in terms of power against mine at the moment.
Its magic is stronger.
Yeah, its magic is stronger.
I just wanted to double check before, since Huntara brought it up. Just wanted to run it by you.
Yeah, I can work with echo. Like I'll look at it at the post editing, see what I can do.
Okay,
also,
awesome.
I know we were trying to move on, but Delta brought up a great point in chat that the Jerboa only lives in desert regions. So unless you live somewhere like, say, Turkey, you're probably safe.
Good thing is Turkey doesn't have a desert, so I am safe.
But it's 105 there.
Doesn't mean it's a desert. Doesn't mean we have weird rabbit kangaroo creatures.
It's true. You just live on the sun. It's
it's a coastal sun. It's
the coastal sun.
Sounds nice.
Great.
Okay, so Bear Cub, the Gloomspore Bear Cub, basically the mushroom pets. It's gonna be available from May 26th to June 1st. Again, limited time. Now,
I know people like the Gloomspore things. They're kind of weird to me. I don't dislike them, but they're like freaky looking.
Yeah, they look like
mushrooms are awesome. So I bought the cinch now.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I had to have it. It was glowy and had mushroom things, and I just really like glowy mushrooms as an aesthetic overall. So it was like totally up my alley, but I can also see how people who are not super into glowy mushrooms could find them weird.
Yeah, they're just strange looking. It's, like I said, I'm pretty neutral on them. It's just like, these are peculiar looking things.
Yeah. So, a polymorph, the Werewolf Lord polymorph is returning to the Crown Store on May 28th, and it will only be available for 3 days until June 1st. Also, ESO Plus members will receive a discount. Now, Werewolf skill line will also get a, revamp, and vampires are gonna get that Vampire Transform Ultimate. So, if you are a werewolf, if you're a proud werewolf, this might be a good time to grab this so you can show off what a real hunter looks like against these petty vampires of Morlock Ball. Moving on, you have the Necromancer.
I think somebody does not like vampires.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So with the release of, as I mentioned just a bit ago, with the release of Greymoor on respective dates for PC and Xbox and PlayStation, we are going to get the Necromancer class from Elsewhere Chapter into the Crown Store. We are also getting the Alliance Change tokens with the update 26. So now
Pixie.
now Pixie Pact can become a real thing.
No, now I can remove my tunes from where they don't belong and put them all in AD and just be very, very happy.
I hope they make it 75,000 crowns so you can't do that.
So that's the thing. As much as I want to buy these, I blow all my crowns immediately as I get them on crown crates. So the chance of me actually getting this is kind of low unless they make it like 1,500 crowns. Like whatever I can get with just like 1 month of ESO plus, that is what I'm willing to spend on it, because otherwise I'm just going to buy crown crates because I just have no self-control.
Yeah.
I'm very curious on what the pricing will be.
I have a feeling it'll be like the race, like race change, like 3k crowns.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is like I'm thinking either 3 or 5, because the thing is, they're gonna want this to have some weight, just because.
Yeah.
For anybody who plays in Cyrodiil, like they've started doing alliance locks for stuff to kind of keep people from spying on other alliances, which I think is a good thing. It's fine to have a campaign where that doesn't matter, or people don't care, or you want to bounce around. That's fine. It doesn't, whatever. But it's a part of the game that's kind of, I mean, I guess there's spies in real life, but you could also, like, if you caught them, you could execute them. Whereas if you're in the same alliance, you can't do anything except that it's like, oh, we can't use zone chat because people are spying for the other sides. Like, that's super lame. Like, because you can't do anything even if you find out. So I would think this is going to come with a price tag heavy enough that they're going to have it still deter people from using it, unless you really either one are trying to fix it and they're just trying to get an influx of cash from people who, like you mentioned, Pixie, like, okay, I made my original character, but I actually don't want it on whatever alliance. I'd like to switch it over or something. Or when people are, you know, oh, I didn't have these friends originally and now would like to do a PvP night, like in my new guild or something. Okay, I can switch. That stuff is fine, and I could see that being useful. It's just in the PvP sense of it, as opposed to kind of you dabble in PvP and you're mostly PvE. I would think they're trying to keep it high enough that people aren't just like, okay, I'm going to bail. Okay, I'm going to bail again. And I'm going to bail again. Yeah. It's like, oh no, please don't do that. Like, that's so lame.
Makes sense. Yeah, I was kind of expecting about 3 to 5k also. Just because I knew it would just be too perfect if it was within my 1 month price range before I blow my money on crown crates. So I just kind of figured that's how it's going to go, and it fits with the current what we already have, so it makes sense.
Also, can I just point out one thing? In the picture of the Alliance Change Tokens Crown Store Showcase thing, you can see a Nord and an Orc representing Ebonheart Pact and Daggerfall Covenant shaking hands. And then there's the Aldmir Dominion guy just sulking in the back, which is a very good view, because Daggerfall and Ebonheart Pact could really team up and get rid of Dominion and live happily ever after, basically. So,
or everyone could just join me in trolling Ark and just all of us switch to the Dominion.
So, one thing, and I mean, they made the joke themselves when Battlegrounds was introduced, where we have Team Orange, Team Green, and Team Purple. From all of my friends who play the different alliances and whenever we stream, and I do it as well on my thing, I don't know how it's always a situation, whatever fight you're in, it's always the other two alliances attacking you.
Yeah.
It's never anybody grouping with me. It's always like, oh, red's coming in, we're attacking yellow, and blue is attacking us while we're attacking. What is happening? Like, why would you do this? And like watching anybody else's, it's like, oh, we're sieging red, and it's like, oh no, here comes yellow smashing into blue. Well, it's like, it really is like a running joke that it's just always the other two alliances are just grouped together. It's weird, since we never seem to benefit from it. We're only punished by it.
I actually really want a two-way PvP in ESO. Like, I don't want to Cyrodiil, okay, 3 alliances, open battle. Then we got Battlegrounds, which is also 3-way. I mean, it's fun, the chaos is fun. But I also like the idea of just 2-way PvP, where you don't have to worry about this weird thing of, like, the purple team is winning. You are doing your best to outscore them, and then the other team does nothing but keep you from doing that. So they don't win, but they also don't let you win. So basically you end up not being able to do anything. So I would love a, 6 versus 6, just 2-way battle instead of a 3-way chaos. I am really hoping to see something like that. Or maybe custom, actually, see, I just found a possibly fun idea. Group dueling. Basically, I form a group, Lotus forms a group, and then the group party leader goes to the other party leader, open up that interaction wheel, and there's like a party duel option. You click that, and both groups engage in battle. So we can be like, not just only one friend versus one friend, but hey, let's have a guild battle that we can just have customized people. That could be an interesting thing.
That'd be really cool. I like that idea a lot.
That would be interesting.
I just thought, now I want it. I wish I never thought about it.
Because then you could get that arena house and have like gladiator duels.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and it would be a lot of fun.
Zas, are you listening? We are
providing you gold here.
Yeah, we are. It's $1 million idea right here. And if they do that, I think it's gonna be a first in any MMORPG. I don't think any other MMORPG has a feature like that. At least not that I heard of. Not that I know many MMORPGs, but still. Point stands. Anyway, more we still got a lot more to talk about as the show notes on the overlay shows.
We're so fancy.
Yeah, so this is a bit controversial. Vampiric and Vampire and Werewolf skill lines on the Crown Store. Now, these are already on the Crown Store. Like, you can unlock Vampire and Werewolf skill lines on the Crown Store as this right now. But with update 26, when you unlock these skill lines on the Crown Store, they are also they are also gonna be maxed out in rank.
Oh, gross.
So basically,
I didn't notice that. Actually,
I'm gonna read it. Instantly advances the vampire skill line to maximum rank and awards a curse of vampirism if you are not already afflicted with vampiric stuff. I can't read that. All abilities contained within the skill line arrive unranked, allowing you to advance and morph the skills as you see fit. So the skills will not be ranked, but you'll have basically level 10 vampire and werewolf skill line. Unless that was already a thing. But I don't think so.
that was always a thing, and it's a very bad value. Lore Seekers everybody points this out. It is universally considered. Do not buy this. People will give you a bite for free in guilds, in zones. At most, don't pay for this. But like, if you're really in a rush and nobody's available, do not pay more than like a cheapo, like 1,000 gold or something like that. But don't even pay that. You'll find somebody that will do it for free. Most people are happy to. Don't spend your money on this. It's not a good deal at all. It's very easy to come across, whereas when originally this was a thing, you had to get bit by the mobs that were available during the full moon phases, which was complicated. But yeah, this is not worth spending your crowns on. And the only reason I dislike it being available, because personally I don't care, I would never use it. But the only thing I don't like is it gives the air of picking up purchases from new players who might not realize how easy it is to get in game.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I don't like. It's like, that's not. Don't do that.
It's a bit predatory. It's a bit predatory.
That one seems kind of predatory to me. So I'm not personally a fan of this. If you're on the fence about this or whatever, ask in zone. People will voluntarily give it to you. So please just get it for free. You don't need to waste real money on this. Use your crowns on something else that you would enjoy more.
Yep.
Right, and sometimes you can just chill at the shrine, and you'll see some people pop up that you can just like /say in chat, and so you don't even have to like yell about it in zone chat. Usually there are just people there that are just hanging out. And I have tried to do that in the past too, where I'll just go and I'll hang out at a shrine if I have a bite available. Back whenever I actually had a fully leveled toon that could do it, and just bite whoever walks up, who's trying to get it. But yeah.
And another thing is, like, when you sometimes, so it's not it doesn't always happen, but sometimes you ask someone for a bite, like a werewolf bite or a vampire bite, and it turns into this amazing ceremony. I've seen it happen. I've been a part of it. You end up having a fun ceremony at the altar, because for these bites to happen, you have to go to the respective like altar shrine thing. And there are generally people there just hanging out or getting their bites and things like that. And sometimes spontaneously it can turn into this fun ceremony. People start role-playing, whatever, wolves howling. I don't know the vampire part. Maybe they don't do it because they're edgy and they're like quote-unquote cool. But at least on the vampire shrine, I've seen this happen many times. Everyone transforms into werewolf form. And in the vicinity of the shrine, you can stay in werewolf form for as long as you like. So people are like, form a chamber, they are howling, and the person gets the bite in the middle and things like that. So get the bite
really cool.
from get it from actual players. And someone in chat mentioned that they're also selling vampire or whatever cure as well, apparently. I didn't know that.
You can cure it as well.
That's like 3k gold from an NPC.
I think it's actually like 600 gold.
Really? Oh my god.
You literally go to a priest and you're like, yo, can I not be this? And he's like, yup, we just need a donation to the church, and boop, you're all set. It's like...
So basically this is like $10 to $25 worth of in-app purchase for something you can get in the game for free or almost free. So
yeah, and with the gold conversion rate for people when they sell crowns and stuff like that, that is... How much is a cure? $15 or something ridiculous? I don't know.
So Captain Aegis, I think, just said 1k for cure, and no, wait, that's just riding lessons. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I never looked at it because I never.
Well, I'll tell you what it's not, and that's 60 cents worth of crowns, because that's how much you pay to the NPC.
Yeah. So, just putting it out there, if you're a new player or if you're an old player who just never thought about getting it, just don't do it. I'm okay with pretty much everywhere else in the crown store. Crown crates are a bit wobbly topic, but I do gift them. They do make a very nice gift. So there's that.
People like them. I know that I'm in the minority that doesn't care. I'm not even opposed to them. I just don't care. But yeah, that one is just, that's the only thing I'm like, that's kind of predatory. I don't care for that.
Yeah. So
spend your crowns that you get on something you'll enjoy more than something you could get basically for free.
Right.
So yeah, that was the Crown Store showcase for the month of May. Turn this. There we go. So for anyone we still have more things to show on that showcase panel that we have on the overlay, but for anyone who watches the recorded version of this or live, do let us know what you think about it, whether if you liked having it on the screen, the things we talk about, And for our audio listeners, twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawler Network, recording live every Saturday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'm gonna start shamelessly plugging our Twitch everywhere I can now.
Well, it's so pretty now, so we really need to just shamelessly plug it everywhere so that people can see all the hard work.
I worked on this, so now I'm like, come here.
Come see what I did.
Yeah.
Look at the things.
So, the next topic on our news is... There's an article called 5 Fun Ways to Prepare for Greymoor. And you have only 10 days to do all this. Which are not necessary, but it's just, as it says, 5 fun ways to do it. obviously playing Harrowstorm Dungeon storylines and doing the Greymoor Prologue quest. Now, Greymoor Prologue quest is part of the base game. You don't have to own anything extra. Harrowstorm Dungeons are part of Harrowstorm DLC, so you need those. But
strong suggestion. Take the 1,500 crowns that we were just talking about werewolf and vampire bites, and buy those dungeons because they're awesome.
They really are. They are incredible.
Story-wise, like, I played both. Story-wise, they are not that important after you do Greymoor Prologue quest, because that's where you get the main idea, but they do tie up to the Greymoor Chapter, so definitely, if you want, find the group and run slowly through Harrowstorm dungeons as well. Like, on normal, just go on normal. Tell your group that you want to read the dialogues and everything, and just take your time through the dungeon. And if you're a PC European mega server, and you want, like, you can't find people to do dungeons slowly with, I'm more than happy to help anyone who wants to do that. So let me know about that as well.
Yeah, and same goes for PS4.
And PC and A. I'm over there too, if you guys want to shout.
I assumed you guys would say that, but I just didn't want to talk for you.
Didn't want to demand that we do dungeons.
I don't even run dungeons. I don't even play this game. What are we talking about?
So the second topic is create an Ord and goth them up, which pretty much what you did, Pixie, right? I mean, I don't know if you goth your...
She's not goth. She's very skull, but I did make a Nord, and that was because of Greymoor.
Mm-hmm. I am actually... the little clapping from Lotus. I don't even know if that was audible on the audios. I had to.
Not sure. A little golf clap. I didn't want to burst people's eardrums with like a hardcore, like I'm at a sports event.
Like me several weeks ago, whenever I knocked on wood very loudly, scared Ark during the editing.
So, the goth team actually comes up a lot during the Greymoor, which I'm not happy about. I'm not a huge fan of like Gothic architecture, Gothic themes, Gothic style, which is also why I don't like the Colovian architecture. I am in favor of Nibenese because Colovian is Gothic. So this chapter, it's starting to feel like this is gonna be more Gothic than Skyrim, and I'm like, we finally got a Skyrim chapter, please. So, we'll
I think
see.
underneath, like in Blackreach, I definitely feel like the Gothic vibe is a big thing. But whereas, like, you know, we stay Surfeit side, and we already know Solitude is Solitude, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh yeah, but it's like having the theme come up this many times is making me fear all the costumes and things like that are gonna end up being Gothic and Vampiric, and I'll be like, but Skyrim.
So, have you been on the PTS yet? Have you checked out the costumes there that they give you?
Oh, I didn't check out the costumes. It didn't occur to me.
They're very Nord. You'll be pleasantly surprised. The Jarl's finery and everything. It's what you'd expect. It looks really nice. Right, You're gonna like it.
Cool. Thank you.
No stress there.
Vampires.
Now, I, on the other hand, I'm super excited about all the Gothic stuff. I also like the Nord stuff, though, so I'm happy either way. But
you get both.
I could see Ark getting more and more panicked over there. So,
so become a vampire or werewolf, because both of the skill lines, especially vampires, are gonna get revamped, and they're gonna get some love. And the whole storyline is about pretty much vampires. And when there are vampires, there are usually werewolves involved as well, since they are like opposite sides of the varied things. So becoming a vampire or werewolf and leveling your skill line up would also be a good idea to prepare for Greymoor. Encounter vampires and dark secrets in Rivenspire. I actually saw you streaming this the other day, Pixie, right? You were doing the Rivenspire questline.
Right, so I actually did the Rivenspire questline back whenever I was still on Xbox, so whenever the game was new on consoles. So it was a really long time ago, and I couldn't really remember the questline that much because it was one that I had kind of rushed through because some friends were pushing me to finish it and level some more and everything. So I decided to go back and start playing through that, and I streamed a little bit of that. And I still have to finish it, which is my goal for the next few days. But
yeah, I really need to do that as well, because Rivenspire, even though I don't like vampires, Rivenspire did have a fun quest line. So I need to do that as well.
And I'm not very far through it, but I do really like the characters like Count Verandis, and I know we're going to deal, at least in part, with the Ravenwatch clan, because it was kind of shown in the trailer, and it was also announced in Vegas during the reveal that they were going to bring back some of those characters. So I'm really excited to see who all comes back. I know we're going to see Gwendis because of the new trailer. Still no call on if Verandis is making a comeback or how that's going to happen. But I'm really excited about it because I do really like Count Verandis. Granted, I'm still pretty early in that quest line, but from what I remember from my first impressions, I think I continued liking him throughout.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's pretty cool. Nothing wrong with Verandis.
I also really like Fenorian, so I'm liking the new vampires they're introducing too. And they had that vampire hierarchy thing on Twitter. Their Twitter's been so much fun lately. We had Vampire Week where we voted on the best vampire. Serana won. Spoiler alert.
I am upset about
Remind
two
me to be
things.
surprised.
I am upset about two things. First, Serana won, and I don't like that. Second, Lord Harkon from Skyrim won against Vicente Valtieri. The oh my god, I forgot the word. The keeper of the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary, not the keeper. The keeper is the one who takes care of the coffin of the Night Mother. But what were their names? The listener. Well, he's the listener as well, I think. So there's that. But the lead of the head of the sanctuary, like
the
individual
speaker?
sanctuaries. No, not speaker. I think they had a name.
I know this one.
Speakers are not the head of the sanctuaries, though. I think that had a different name.
So the speaker was the one that told everybody. The listener provided the information to the speaker. The speaker relayed all the messages to all the fingers.
Yeah.
Aren't they in charge? Or is there somebody above the speaker?
Listeners above the speaker, actually.
That would kind of make sense. I was going to say, I mean, they're not, because they relay the message, so by default, they would kind of obviously.
They have a direct line of communication to Night
Right,
Mother,
they would control what the speaker can say.
Blackhand is the leading council of the entire Dark Brotherhood. It's, I think, one listener, 4 speakers, but they are not, they are the entire, they are not leading a single sanctuary. They cover more than one, as far as I remember. There's only one listener for the whole Dark Brotherhood. Yeah,
so there's the one listener, and then I thought that the speaker was the one. Each speaker was in charge of their respective thing.
Okay, that's starting to make more sense.
That's what I thought it was.
It might be it. It might be the matron. That the word I'm looking for. But well, anyway, whatever. It's basically, Vicente Valtieri should have won against Lord Harkon. That's the main point. So, yeah.
So I love Serana, but I also really love Fenorian. And I have a feeling Fenorian's going to be one of my favorite characters ever, because he was adorable in Unhallowed Grave. I really liked him.
I don't remember him.
For the sake of having this work for the audio, the 5 Dark Brotherhood ranks are the listener, the keeper, the speaker, the silencers, and the takers.
Oh,
those are the ranks. So, listener would be the highest rank. Keeper would be the one, obviously. What's his face? The annoying clown. That's
Cicero.
Yeah. Good God. And then it's the speakers in the hierarchy provide the information to the silencers who are eliminating people. And I don't even know what a taker is.
Probably the one who takes the money, the payment.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. I was just thinking. At
Here's
first I
the
thought it
thing.
said the talker. I'm like, well, that's awkward.
Here's the thing. There's gotta be more than one black hand. Like, they can't cover entire Tamriel.
Well, they are. I mean, I know people love the Dark Brotherhood, so don't get me wrong. It's fine. Don't get you... I don't know.
Wait, Vicente was
Tunic in
apparently
a quiz.
executioner, not the listener. Oh my god, I have to play Oblivion again. I am ashamed. That was like my favorite quest line
Oh my
in
god.
all of Elder
yes.
Scrolls games, and I got it wrong. So now I'm ashamed. So we are moving. We're moving on. I'm gonna edit this out.
Yep. I was gonna say.
This is all very embarrassing because apparently we don't remember basic lore. So
Well, yeah, sort of. Also, I here's something I'm in the minority on. I don't think much of the Dark Brotherhood. I think they're too psychotic for their own good, and that's why they keep pushing themselves toward being eliminated, and eventually basically are eliminated because they're all just insane people. So that's if they had a functional system, they wouldn't constantly be backstabbing each other.
I mean, backstabbing's kind of the entire point of the Dark
True.
Brotherhood.
I know, but that's why they're not good at things. I feel like they accidentally do stuff right in and amongst all the backstabbing each other to do it wrong.
All right, the last part of preparing for Greymoor, like 5 fun ways to prepare for the thing is exploring Eastern Skyrim, which is the currently available Skyrim areas, basically, including, you know, the Falkreath Hall dungeon and things like that. Closing this article. There we go.
We made it.
Yeah. Right. So, the next point is an article basically going over Skyrim's, well, the Dark Heart of Skyrim storyline and what's it about. It's basically, again, the Gothic theme comes up here as well. It's going to be a Gothic storyline, right? We are gonna have a more... I'm just gonna read the part. We want to tell a story that leveraged the dark and brooding tone and leaned into the Gothic themes, explains Randy Begel, ESO's senior writer and primary writer for the Greymoor Chapter. We hope that Greymoor's long shadows feel oppressive, full of intrigue and danger. So it is going to be a quiet, dark, quiet Gothic themed storyline. And at least I assume the Black Reach parts. Obviously there are going to be a lot of Skyrim related stuff as well. Hopefully a little bit more less Gothic, a little bit less Gothic. But again, that's just me. So the storyline basically revolves around Western Skyrim is under attack from an unknown source, which we can assume it's the vampire lord of the area, Black Reach, whatever, like Lord Harkon of Second Era. And they are a threat to not just Skyrim, but everyone else, and it is upon us to stop it. And we'll be hanging with Lyris Titanborn throughout this entire journey. So that's gonna be fun, because that means we are gonna get a lot of Lyris Titanborn cinematics. And those are gonna be awesome. Like,
yes.
It's just obvious from that first cinematic trailer we got for Greymoor. She makes amazing stuff for cinematics, so that's actually one of the things that I'm most looking forward to. Like the cinematics. Cinematics we are gonna get with Lyris and the Nordic hero. That is like the best thing that can happen in the cinematic history of Elder Scrolls Online. So that's gonna be nice.
Definitely. I'm excited to see it. The cinematics are always so awesome. I'm sad it's not the Elven hero's turn again, but the Nord hero is really cool too.
He is the best. Not just he's really cool. He's the best. Okay? he won against all of the rest of the heroes. So he proved that he is the best. Also, I'm just saying stuff because I kind of lost where I was on the article. I'm trying to find where I was. That's what I'm like.
See, I couldn't figure out where you were on the article. I'm like, I don't know where I got lost.
So what I did
I've been trying to find it and then I gave up.
I wrote a lot of show notes, and I realized I didn't really properly order them. So I kind of lost where I was. Anyway, another thing about, writing of the new chapter is, so it's gonna involve a lot of monsters, right? Vampires, werewolves, witches, probably Reachmen. Well, they're not technically monsters, but it is a weird ritualistic whatever thing. And so obviously there's also a writing for these. They can't be too generic. They can't be, they gotta be original and they gotta be interesting. And let's be honest, considering the history of vampires and werewolves in fantastic, literature and just movies, whatever, everything, they've been pretty much the same. And the last time someone tried to make something different, we got a disaster that is Twilight. So
I actually have a little bit of a fun story about that. Whenever we met Finn in Vegas, we jokingly told him that for Greymoor, he should make the skin sparkly vampire. Obviously joking. And it was kind of hilarious.
I hope he threw water to your faces.
He knew we were joking. No. And he said that if they did make it a thing, he would be sure to credit us, which was us saying, please, dear God, no.
Now, I kind of wish he actually agreed that did credit you. Oh my god, that would have gave me the material to troll you for an eternity.
Well, it's not gonna happen.
But basically there's a little quote from, again, Bagel about writing for monsters in ESO. I think I've written at least 5 distinct vampire-themed pieces of content for Elder Scrolls Online at this point, so I am well practiced and completely out of fresh synonyms for blood, jokes Bagel. The challenge came in both making these antagonists feel unique compared to so many other factions players have faced, and making them still feel every bit as terrifying as they deserve. Whether we have been successfully injecting some new blood into old, familiar foes is for the players to decide, but my hope is that their methods and motives will keep players guessing until the conclusion of our year-long narrative. And see, that's something we've been talking about. The vampires can't be all evil in Greymoor, because they are gonna be a massive part of the story. And if we knew they were... What?
Gwendis, she was shown in the trailer, and we know that she's not evil. So there's one confirmed not evil vampire.
I mean, and another thing with Elder Scrolls is it usually gives you choices. It leaves you uncertain about the motives or whether someone is good or bad. It does it in every game. You're left thinking okay, is this person actually evil, or are they right to do those things? It's sort of this dilemma. So it's good to know that they are also doing that with vampires. I mean, in my eyes, I'm gonna consider them straight up evils anyway, but
Well, it's nice to know you consider it a choice at least. It's you're thinking about considering it.
Yeah, considerations.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing. What?
I said it's better than nothing. I mean, just like how earlier you said that you think the Bosmer are pretty cool, so that's a foot in the door to get you into the Aldmeri.
Hold up. I said Bosmer are okay. Don't twist my words. I didn't say they're pretty cool.
I mean, they are.
No. Anyway, so he continues to explain, thankfully the lore surrounding vampires and werewolves in the Elder Scrolls series is rich, making them unique compared to similar beasts in other fantasy settings, and providing the team with plenty of inspiration for their monstrous characters. Which is also right, yeah, in a lot of other fantasy settings, vampires and werewolves are just the same. Like, they are really, really the same. So Elder Scrolls vampires, and that in part comes from being, like, not just a curse, but it's under the influence of a specific Daedric prince. And it's also mentioned here as well. I've always found the origins of vampires and werewolves in Nirn being directly tied to the influence of Daedric princes very interesting. Though considered diseases, their curses go beyond simple mortal afflictions. They consume their hosts, body and soul. What lengths might one go to escape such a fate, I wonder? Which is also, like, a huge part of the companion's storyline in Skyrim, actually, because the Harbinger wants to cure his werewolf curse so that he can actually go to Sovngarde, because when you're a vampire or a werewolf, you basically, Hircine or Molag Bal, respectively, have claim to your soul. You can't go anywhere else. When you die, as a vampire or as a werewolf, you will go to the respective plane of the Daedric Prince. If you're a werewolf, you'll go to the hunting grounds to forever hunt. And if you are a vampire, God knows what Molag Bal is gonna do with your soul. I don't know. He's weird.
Probably not great.
He's weird. He is odd. He's I would go if you are gonna go with a Daedric Prince, and you know, gonna end up turning into a beast. I would go with Hircine. At least he's like, okay, you're a hunter, go hunt. You know, I'll take that deal over whatever Molag Bal is planning.
Yeah.
Just saying. Or at least don't die as a vampire. Somehow cure and then die, so you don't directly.
Well, what you do? No, there's a very simple thing. If you're a vampire, immediately start praying to Hermaeus Mora. He'll give you the solution, since he's all-knowing, to fix the problem, and then just go live in Apocrypha, because Hermaeus Mora rules.
See, now I'm okay with Apocrypha because of all the books, but the Seekers and all of those things that you see there creep me out really bad, and the tentacle things also scare me.
It's fine. Just don't.
They remind
just
me
sweep
that-
that under the very green liquidy rugs that are everywhere.
They remind me the Mind Flayers from Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh
They're
yes,
yeah, they are.
I
they
actually know
must
what
have-
those are.
Yeah, they must have have some sort of inspiration from that, because they are very, very similar.
Yeah.
So there's also a little part about crafting a year-long journey. This is the second time. So apparently, the Season of the Dragon, last year's like a full year storyline, went really well. So they are doing it again this year. And there's actually a part that really interested me. How they come up with a year-long storyline. You know, it's from a design perspective, from a writing, narrative perspective. So, just trying to get the name before I say it, so I don't do another President of Tamriel accident.
Official title.
Yeah. The goal is that each release in the year-long narrative tells a story that can stand alone, but that also shines a part of the longer whole, explains Bill Slavicsek, ESO's lead writer. There we go, ESO's lead writer. It's challenging but exciting process that has so far yielded great results for ESO. Again, Season of the Dragon apparently very successful. So how they come up with a year-long stories, it all starts with the creative director, lead designer, and myself, that is the lead writer. They provide guidances as to the type of story they want to see. Political, Daedric, dragons, and apparently this time like vampires. And the kind of places they want to go to in the world, elsewhere, Western Skyrim, whatever. Then I start creating short pitches, and by I think it's still the lead writer. Then I start creating short pitches, exploring the kind of themes and plots that might be fun and exciting and could only take place at the intersection of those initial ideas. After some discussion and debate, the team narrows down contending story ideas before crafting a final approved plan. So basically the whole idea at the beginning at least comes from the creative director, that is Rich Lambert, lead designer. Actually, who is the lead designer? I mean, Finnegan is the lead dungeon designer. Then we have the lead combat designer. But who's the lead designer?
Yeah, I don't...
Have you actually ever heard who's the lead?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. Titles are difficult.
Yeah, it's...
I know that there are zone leads.
Right.
Yeah, but it just says... Maybe that's what they meant. I actually don't know. But they can't pick a zone lead before they know what zone the story is going to take place
They're doing,
at.
right. Huh.
Lead design...
I'm not sure who would they just consider the all-encompassing quote-unquote lead designer.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know who that is.
Stray.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. There's another part. So, a year-long story starts with a DLC dungeon, goes on with the chapter, then another DLC dungeon, and wraps it all up with the story zone DLC. But the thing is, a player at the moment can start playing Elder Scrolls Online at any point. So they can do the latest zone DLC before they do the chapter. And what they do for that is every story. So I'm just going to read it because it's going to be difficult to just explain it on my own words.
Right.
We approach each of the 4 releases in the year as potentially a player's first experience with the content. Because yes, it can happen because there's no leveling system in the zones anymore. So everyone can do any content at any time. So just like the rest of Elder Scrolls Online, you can jump in and start playing no matter where you come in, which is what I'm really annoyed about. I talk about it a lot. The chapter and the DLCs each tell a complete and parallel story that also leads one to the other, and you can play them in either order. We are making an Elder Scrolls game, so we try to make sure the content accommodates every playstyle. Now this I super disagree about. You can't play, well, you technically can, but if you play the Elder Scrolls Online story in any order, it doesn't make sense. You see characters that are supposed to be dead. You see characters you get mentioned that are dead, that still are walking around. It can turn into a whole mess because Elder Scrolls Online does have Elder Scrolls Online does have a lot of repeating characters, like a lot of reoccurrences. So if you play the stories out of order, things get weird. What were you going to say, Pixie?
I was just going to say that if you haven't done like the main story and then you jump straight to Drakengard, for example, and you talk to Saisahan, he doesn't mention anything about dying or if you didn't kill him because he just acted like I met him for the first time because I haven't done the main story on my main tune because I did it back multiple times on both Xbox and PS4, so I just haven't done it again on PC yet. But so they try to handle it as well as they can. It does make you feel more attached to the characters if you start from the beginning. But I mean, if you start in Somerset, Roz is just going to act like he doesn't know who you are. If you start at the AD story and then do Somerset, Roz recognizes you. So there is a difference, but it just kind of depends on what you want to do. I know whenever I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, I was struggling to kind of get into that game because it wouldn't let me do what ESO does and jump straight into the newer content. And then it also kind of, because of the leveling system in Final Fantasy is more similar to ESO pre-1 Tamriel, it's not as rewarding for a veteran player to come back and help a newbie. Just run through that old content a whole bunch to help them level up to get to the newer stuff. So there's pros and cons to each side. I like being able to run the newer content with people who are new to the game, and also I don't know. There's pros and cons to it. I feel like it's more rewarding in the long run if you play through all of the old stories, but the fact that it's an option to go straight to the end where everybody currently is playing through that story is really cool too.
You are absolutely correct. For my first point is, not every character come back like Sai-Sahan. So some of them do die. They just die. And then, like, you do the storyline, they die. They really die. And then you see them again, and it's not mentioned at all, because they're not, like, main characters like Sai-Sahan. I think Sarah from Morrowind into Somerset is a good example of this. And then Darien is also an example. Like, if you do Somerset first, and then do main story... whoop-de-doo, there's Darien, and you're like...
Yeah, it's very weird, because he would already be in Meridia's grasp.
Yeah. Then you are doing all that stuff, and you're like, oh...
Because he has the connection to her, without going super into it, but, like, there's the connection with her, it's like, well, are we just going to pretend that's not there? Like, all right.
So there are some characters that are not, like, the main trio, or main, like, the companions and Raz, like... Right. If they don't die, it's okay. But if they die off for good, it can get weird. Another thing is, this is also still fine. Like, if someone doesn't want to do the story in chronological order, whatever, and as you said, like, they just want to jump to the end, it's fine. You want to go back to help a friend who just started the game, this system allows that. My main problem is the game doesn't explain this to a new player. They just drop you to whatever's the latest content is. So a new player, they go on Steam, they buy the latest edition, they have access to everything. They create a character. They go through the tutorial with the Cold Harbor and everything. Actually, I don't know if chapters have their own tutorials.
They have their own tutorial.
Yeah, each one has their own. Yep.
So they don't even see the Cold Harbor. Then they get dropped off into the latest point, and nothing in the game, nothing in the beginning experience, explains to the new player that where they are is not the beginning, not the chronological beginning of the storyline. They don't know that there is the whole zone story to do. They don't know that there are recurring characters from the content in chronological order that they should do before and things like that. They're just dropped into whatever's the latest. Imagine doing, like, you can do Elsewhere storyline, Season of the Dragon, and spoilers are good now. I'm sorry, if you still haven't done Elsewhere and like, you don't want to hear spoilers.
Drakengard.
Skip, I don't know, a few minutes, I guess. Or mute the audio and look at the side panel that we now... Well, you can't do that on audio form. I'll just skip like a few minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. Here we go. Just giving it a second for everyone to do it. At the end of Elsewhere, it's not certain yet, but we can assume Abnur Tarn is dead for good, right? He is nuked for good. What happens if you play?
Maybe.
Well, I mean, everybody came back, so why not Abnur Tarn?
Yeah.
I hope Abnur Tarn comes back. I love.
There's just those people who are like, "Oh, we didn't see a body," but like, I mean, we know how we feel. We kind of want him to stay dead just for effect.
Yeah. I don't like when they do that. Like, if you make me feel emotional about a character, just leave him dead.
Yeah, because that was.
I mean, I know Abnur Tarn. I would feel rejoiced if he comes back, but at the same time, he can stay dead, so I still feel that emotion. You know, the sacrifice moment
is super impactful. So, like, I want it to stay super impactful.
Exactly.
Yeah. But going back to the topic, you Abnur Tarn dies, and then you do the main story. What happens?
Right.
Is he like, oh, remember how I got nuked by a dragon stone thing? Yeah. Never happened.
Never happened, and I'm going to snarkily talk down to you now because we've never met.
Yeah. And here's
I
the
wish
prophet,
there was a good way for them to handle both. To be honest, because it was something that really frustrated me so bad about Final Fantasy. And in Final Fantasy 14, it was a fun game. It's just so hard for me to put time into whenever I see all my friends running the Shadowbringers content that looks more this type of story that I'm into, but I'm stuck back at like A Realm Reborn for the longest time, and I actually like paid to skip that because of how frustrated I was just being so far behind everybody else. So it's like it's a darned if you do, darned if you don't kind of situation. Because if you don't let them start in the new stuff, then you come up with a situation like mine where it's like, I just want to do that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Let them do whatever content they want to do. Just explain to them.
Tell them.
The actual chronological order. Have a list in the game. Like you press J and then you press full story guide. And it shows you the exact chronological order that the zones and the stories and the DLCs are supposed to be completed in. Because like every DLC and zone and chapter, they also tie into the next as well. They give hints. Like it's all connected. It's a big, massive connection string.
100% agreed there. I feel like they took a step towards that. I feel like they took a step towards that with the zone guide because people kept saying they got lost. I think they need to take it a step further by saying like this is where everything kind of started and like kind of give you a ranked order of when you should like you were just saying. I think that would be the perfect solution. So that way it doesn't take choices away from people, but also I have heard of people who are new who come to this game and say they just feel overwhelmed because there's so much they're allowed to do right at the start, and that's not the way they're used to playing an MMO. So kind of the opposite problem I had.
I also really liked the one thing that they did put in at the end of the Elsewhere or the Season of the Dragon with the finish, like the finale quest, which was straight up locked. I really like that, where it was like, okay, you can do Dragonhold and you can do the Elsewhere chapter, and you can do or not do the dungeons, and we'll either say that you guys accomplished this or some other random hunters found these things and whatever. But the only way to unlock the finale to the Season of the Dragon was you needed to at least complete the story to both the zone and the chapter. And I was like, okay, that at least gave it some finality that felt like it's like, okay, well, you at least worked toward this, regardless of what order you did the other bits in. So, like, I was okay with that. I really liked that idea if they could somehow work with that more.
I did really like that, too. Even as somebody who's hardcore, like, let me do what I want when I want it, I did really like that. That did make the story overall feel a lot more impactful, and I really appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, and see, for example, Mana Junkies in chat says, I just started a month ago and I did Morrowind thinking that was the beginning. I would love to do that now once I know the chronological order. See, that's the thing, like, it's okay to do that if you want to do that, but let a new player know that they are not at the beginning of the story. A lot of my real life friends also did the same mistake. They were like, oh yeah, I began the story. I'm like, where are you? And they're like, Vardenfell? I'm like, no, you are not at the beginning. That's not the beginning.
That's just it. Morrowind and Vardenfell is a specific section of Morrowind as opposed to Stonefall or Deshaan or Balfoy. Like, it's even the zones are then split piecemeal sometimes, which can further confuse things. And that's just it. It's like it's definitely like, God, like this can definitely get overwhelming. I could see. And I always, whenever my friends just pick the game up, I always tell them like, oh yeah, okay. You start in, pay attention to the prophet. Like that's your main thing. And then you kind of stumble in from there. And he'll show up as a hooded figure or whatever. But I'm just like, yeah, come to me. I'll port you there. Start here. Yeah. And then if you want to veer off, I have less problem with like story being out of sync if you choose to do it. It's just I wish, like you said, it was a little more like, okay, here we go. Like this is the starter path. And then from there, it's up to you how you feel like going. Because the option is great, but not having, not to sound awful, but you basically need to slap people in the face with the direct way to do it, because otherwise some people are going to miss it. And I think that does a disservice to the very good writing of the game, because that, to me, the game is fun and it's got a ton of awesome parts to it. The story and the writing is like absolutely, I feel like, one of the strongest attributes to this game. So I feel like it should be front and center when you're trying to hook people onto the game.
Yeah. Agreed.
Another, like, one of the most memorable points on Elder Scrolls Online storylines are when you see that character in the new zone, new chapter, new DLC, and you're like, oh, I mean, imagine, without giving spoilers, because now I know Mana Jenkins is new to the game in chat, like, Somerset storyline wouldn't have the same effect, same ending effect and everything like that if you haven't done main quest. Like the main quest of the game. It just wouldn't have the same impact and same emotional, roller coaster that you experience if you haven't done the main quest. And if you don't give that option to the player, I mean, it's good to give players option to play the game in any order, but also by not letting them know that about the chronological order, you are taking away the option of experiencing that impact of actual, like, following the actual order has. So, better user experience for new players, Zas. That's basically the summary of this whole discussion.
Also, planning things on the show that's weird. Well, whatever. Just because I'll forget if I don't mention it. We should. I mean, I don't know why anybody would find us before they find the game and start it itself. That would be strange. It's very flattering if somehow we brought you to ESO. That would be weird. But I assume it's the other way around. We should just have, because it was brought up in chat, episode 55 of the Lore Seekers. That's the one where they do the chronology. I couldn't remember which one it was. But they do one where that's their lore lesson, is basically they go through the chronology of it. It wouldn't probably kill us to maybe put the release schedule, because that's how the chronology works. The problem is, if you weren't there from the start, the chronology will be confusing. We've just played it in the order they keep launching it. So it's like, okay, well, I know what the order is because I can only play them in that physical order without, like, intentionally delaying. We should really put that timeline up just, like, on our website. So if for whatever reason people want a reference chart, we could just
I'll work on it. Yeah, I'll work on like a PNG that shows
just
like on a map here.
Right. Just as a reference chart type of thing.
And I swear, if you put an X over the AD zones, I'm going to lose it.
I was gonna ask you to do the AD zones because I don't know the order of AD zones because I haven't done them, but now you gave me the idea.
Oh no.
Just a big red X through the AD.
Just don't.
That's kind of what I was expecting him to release. Also, can you guys hear my cat trying to bust through my door? Do I just need to let him in here and shut my PC off? Okay.
Not hearing. Okay, so in these articles, they also started releasing a video as well, which I'm really happy about. They actually also talk about this whole thing with visuals and explanations from the developers. So I'm gonna actually show that as well. It'll be audible for audio listeners, and it'll be on the screen for our video watchers. It's about 4 minutes, and the link is in the show notes if Lotus Pixie you want to listen to watch to it at the same time as well.
Yep.
So let me just bring it up on the thing.
Your mouth is dry, your blood boils in your veins, while your skin turns cold as ice. Your body does not accept the blessing for what it is.
That's the wrong one. That's the next one. That's the next article.
I was gonna say, this is the vampire skill line.
Yeah, there we go.
waited 1,000 years for this moment. From the depths of the darkest shadows, we will rise again with our fallen legions to avenge our wretched purgatory. We will rebuild our empire on the souls of the meek. And you will know the dark heart of Skyrim.
No, not coming June 9, coming May 26 for PC.
No, June 9th.
No.
No, June 9th.
Both.
Both.
So yeah, that is the video for it as sort of like the trailer. I really don't like the Vampire Lords and how they look. But everything else looks pretty cool.
I saw the picture of the female Vampire Lord, and I really, really liked that, actually. Because I didn't...
Vampire Lord?
Was it... was it on this show? Where did I just see that? I just saw it, like, today.
It might be in the screenshots we have.
Yeah.
In the middle.
And... unless I'm just completely losing my mind, that's where I thought I saw it. But
aren't Vampire Lords like that Lord Harkon looking winged creatures, sort of like gargoyle looking ones?
Yeah, so I'm thinking the Blood Scion, which I guess is a little bit different. I just remember in Skyrim, like the main difference between the male and female was just like the female had a top covering, if I'm remembering right, and the rest was like pretty much indistinguishable. But it's been a long time since I've played that game and done a Vampire Lord, so I could be wrong. But this one looked different to me, and it was enough of a difference to be able to tell at a glance if it's male or female, and I thought that was a cool little touch.
Right, it might. I don't know. Unless you noticed, I am not fond of vampires.
Yeah, it was a big question of mine for a while, just because I play exclusively female toons, and so I was just wondering whenever the vampire skill line changes, what my vampire blood sign will look like. And I was just curious about it, and seeing it on the little screenshots was pretty cool.
We have a video and article about vampire updates as well, so maybe we'll see it there. And if you do, just tell us, and we'll stop and have a look at it, because now I'm curious.
Okay. Okay.
So the next update is obvious. I mean, it is mentioned a lot of times that we are getting a full vampire skill line revamp in update 26. And what they want to do with this is basically, I mean, it really had very little change over the years, so they kind of want to refresh it up a bit. And they are getting inspired by blood magic. Now, I don't exactly... Like, vampires and blood magic, they are generally two separate things when it comes to a lot of the fantasy settings. But the base of blood magic is you use health, and well, this is the meta. And if you look lore-wise, you use blood, which is someone's health. You use vitality, health, to cast powerful magic. And this vitality could come from other people that you sacrifice, basically, or yourself. In a lot of like RPG systems, this comes as, you sacrifice your health, you cast magic, you do a sacrifice, like warlocks and stuff. You sacrifice someone, or just carry people with you into battle and just cut them up as you cast your spells and things like that. So they're kind of getting inspired by this, so they are changing the skills up so that it complements this idea. So they have two new skills for example, the first 2 skills of the new vampire skill line, and they're called, I will see what they're called in a second, once I open up the I closed the article. 1 sec. I have too many tabs open, sorry. It was going so well as well, because this time I'm prepared. This time I actually prepared before the show. But I messed it up nonetheless. I opened the wrong article too. What is going on? Because I have the wrong article link in the show notes to the wrong thing. Hold on. Oh my god. Everything was going so well.
So yeah, chat has confirmed that the female vamp shot is cycling in this whole thing. There's the male.
Oh,
and the female somewhere in there. But yeah, it's different. And I
will have to look at it after the thing. Okay. The first of the 2 abilities that do this called Eviscerate and Blood Frenzy. There we go. I was looking for this. So one is a spammable ability that deals more damage the less health you have, or your missing health. And the other ability, now I can hear the cat, but I can edit it out. Don't worry.
Yeah, now I assume
I can.
Assassinated.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, we can edit it out.
Sorry, he's obnoxious.
Mines do similar things, so I understand. Actually, I'm not gonna edit it out so people know that what just happened.
Yes.
So, Eviscerate is a spammable ability that deals more damage based on your missing health. And Blood Frenzy gives you more weapon and spell damage, but actively drains your health. It's a toggle ability. So, basically, these 2 complement each other, as well as the idea of blood magic. Basically, sacrificing health for dealing more damage. Now, what I'm thinking is making a 50k health tank vampire that, like, deals massive damage when he is losing 50% of his health, but still having 25k health, which is still a lot more than DPS people. You know, I don't know what's the cap on it. It probably will have a cap on it. Yeah.
Not Elder Scrolls, but conjoined Bethesda stuff. There is a perk in Fallout 76, known as the Bloodied perk, which is the same idea. The lower your health, the more damage you output. Mm-hmm. And originally there really wasn't a cap, and you could just do outrageous things, and they did implement it was kind of modified so that there is a way for them to control it, because otherwise I wonder if it would be the same situation that could possibly arise, although this is skill based as opposed to being like a perk or a trait that they would have like in this game. Because you could basically one-shot the end boss if you traded all of your gear correctly with it, and then like uppercutted the boss in Fallout 76. You would just completely obliterate it. It seems a little more manageable in this, but since the 2 teams now interact with each other, as far as I understand, because they helped a lot with fixing some of the stuff in Fallout 76, from my understanding, I assume that you're right. It will have a cap so that it won't have the same side effect in ESO.
Yeah. So there's also the new ultimate ability called Blood Scion, which transforms your character. So before, werewolves, transformed into a werewolf, but vampires didn't have a transform really. So now they also have a monstrous beast transform like werewolves. And while in this form, they will have like health, stamina, magicka boosts, as well as being able to heal yourself while dealing damage. And this is interesting. I haven't checked this out on PTS or on YouTube. You will be able to see your enemies through walls. I am curious if this, if I can see enemies through walls, I should also be able to see invisible and sneak enemies as well. Because that only makes sense. You can't just hide your scent because you're invisible. Because I assume this is true scent, going from, vampire settings. you should be able to see sneaks and invisible people too. But yeah, I'm really curious how this is gonna look. I guess we'll just see the red outline that we already have in the game. But
Probably.
yeah, you'll be able to see enemies through walls. I can see this being fun in Cyrodiil. Like when you are sieging a castle, you'll know how many people are. Like you can pop this ultimate and you can tell your group, okay, there is like 50 other people behind that door, and everyone can prepare for it and things.
Well,
like that.
that'd be good, and I mean that'll have a good practical application if it works like that. And the other thing, which, not that I have a vendetta against them or anything like that, but instead of needing to cast Mage Light 10,000 times when we clear a keep, searching for that stupid Nightblade that's hiding so that when we leave, they can set up a camp or they can do whatever they're going to do and be annoying and start sieging it again. It'd be nice to just have somebody be like, oh, just a second, and they go into that form and find them and we can smash them.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of hope it does work like that.
So they're also changing up how the feeding or vampire stages work. Now you are more powerful the more you feed, right? Because it was vice versa, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they flipped it around,
Yeah.
which gameplay-wise makes more sense, and it's just furthering the fact that this is apparently a different strain from anything else that's been in the series, because all the other vampires work like backwards, I guess, from normal vampire stuff in Elder Scrolls. It's just like inverted, but now this one isn't.
Yeah, I mean this is definitely more intuitive. The thing is, though,
gameplay wise, it makes way more sense.
Yeah, so obviously you take more damage from flame attacks, reduction in health recovery. But it also, I don't know if how many of these were also happening before, but increased cost of non-vampiric abilities as well. While the higher stage you are in vampire stuff, reduction in health recovery, increase in damage from flame attacks, increased cost of non-vampiric abilities.
Yeah, the increased cost from non-vampiric abilities, I've been hearing a lot of people be like, I think I'm gonna cure my vampirism if that's the case.
Do we know how much the cost has increased? Because I didn't actually.
It's probably on PTS.
Yeah, I would assume it's going to take a little. I don't know if it has a number yet, but I'm sure that's probably still in flux on the PTS. Would be my guess to try to balance that out.
Right.
So another fun thing is they are implementing vampires into justice system like the necromancers.
Yeah.
So now, if you do any vampire stuff in public, like feed on someone, cast some of the abilities, the guards will attack you. More interestingly, if you are stage 4 vampire, many NPCs, including merchants, will recognize you as somebody afflicted by vampirism and will refuse to deal with you. Now this is interesting.
Cool.
That's very neat for the people who like the immersion factor.
Yes, but how do you reduce your vampire from stage 4 to stage 3? Like, what's the process?
You wait.
You wait. So let's say my inventory is full. I gotta sell stuff. But I'm stage 4. I just got out of a dungeon that I completed as a stage 4 vampire. What am I gonna do? Will I not be able to sell things? Repair my gear?
I bet you the Outlaws Refuge will be fine.
Oh.
They probably will be. They'll probably not give a crap.
Very
and
good
I would
point.
also say value of double bloody Maras are probably going up.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody's going to be needing that stuff.
So Kiz says, last PTS numbers for skill cost increase. Stage 1, 5%, Stage 2, 10%, Stage 3, 15%, and Stage 4, 20% cost increase for non-vampiric ability for Stage 4 vampires. That's a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, that is. Like at Stage 1, it's not so bad, but my 20% is just. That's ouchy.
Yeah,
That's rough. You're getting all the heavy hitty stuff, but at the same time, man, is it going to cost you?
Yeah.
Also, it was brought up Fizzies. I was going to say, what about Fizzies? And
I assume since they are
I
crowns.
can't pronounce her name. The red guard that I can't pronounce. Nizima.
Someone.
Nezzy.
Yeah, Nezzy. Well, yeah, Nezzy, exactly.
Since they are crown bought, like if I am pretty sure people would be upset if they paid 5k crowns for a merchant and then can't use it because they are
and then the
vampire
merchant tells you to go to hell.
You work for me, small cat.
Okay, so vampire ability cost decreases 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% respectively. So you are benefiting more if you are using more vampire abilities while in stage 4 and whatnot. So they're also reworking the animation for feeding of vampires, which are very fun. We will, for the video watchers, will see it. And if you don't, go into, the YouTube, Bethesda YouTube, or go into the articles on elderscrollsonline.com, and there's a video that shows, or just wait for the Greymoor Chapter, it's up to you, but we're gonna watch the vampire preview video as well. It's like 3-4 minutes, and then we'll be back to talk more about it.
Your mouth is dry, your blood boils in your veins, while your skin turns cold as ice. Your body does not accept the blessing for what it is. I wonder, will you embrace it, or will you fight it?
Vampires play a pretty prominent role in the Dark Heart of Skyrim storyline this year, and this gave us the perfect opportunity to reevaluate the skill line and make some long-needed adjustments to improve the overall experience. Our overall focus for these updates was making both the vampire skill line and the overall experience a much more active role.
We have watched you ever since you first emerged from Cold Harbor. If you were like other mortals, you would soon turn. But you are unique.
The way you become a vampire in ESO hasn't changed. You can either get bitten by certain rare spawn NPCs in the world, or bitten by other players who are vampires. Once bitten, you have to complete a quest called the Scion of the Blood Matron.
I offer you a gift. Relish this new life I have given you. Feed and grow powerful.
Feeding plays a much larger role in being a vampire. Feeding makes you more powerful now, and as a result, the player will spend a lot more time hunting NPCs to feed on. Vampires have been fully integrated into the justice system. This means that NPCs will react to overt vampiric actions and abilities.
Keep those fangs to yourself!
Kind preserve us, a vampire!
So, like the Necromancer, if you show your vampire abilities near citizens, you will incur a bounty and the guards will be called on you.
With time and experience, you will master all the vampiric arts. You will command an array of abilities. Some let you influence the mind of the weak, others let you wrench their life away. All inspire a terror no mortal heart can bear.
With the skill line rework, we focused heavily on what it means to be a vampire. Blood, elusiveness, aggression, and power are the primary gameplay concepts that really define the overall experience. Blood Frenzy is a really great example of a new skill that was added. It ticks all the boxes of what it means to be a vampire. It's a toggled skill that when active increases your damage, but also drains your health, so you're trading health for power, and that feels very, very vampiric.
A handful of greater vampires lay claim to a twisted shape, gifted to them by the Defiler. Why should my children not possess such horror-wrought strength? In you, we shall see this form perfected.
Vampire skill line changes that are coming with the Greymoor update are part of the base game. That means that all players will get access to the new skill line and changes. When the new update goes live, all current vampires will have their skill line experience converted over to the new skill line. The team is really excited about all of these changes to the new vampire experience. We can't wait to see what everybody does with them.
We go where our troublemaking kin go, and our kin are definitely up to trouble here in Skyrim. I just wish there were more of us. Verandis never prepared us for this.
There you go. Those new animations are really fun.
I actually did play around with stuff. I played around with those for a while on the PTS. That was one of the main things I did on the PTS, was just attack the same poor NPC over and over and over again every time he spawned, just to see as many different animations as I could. And it was so entertaining.
But yeah, those are the vampire changes. And that concludes our new section. And brings us to the main part of the show, and that is Tales of Tamriel. So I am gonna rest my voice a bit because air conditioning makes my throat hurt. So that's one downside of it. So I'm gonna let Lotus go first and rest.
All right. So it's been 2 weeks since our last show, as we've been doing some remodeling, specifically Ark. But what do you call it? One of the updates that I figured I would do quickly, as I actually hope to stream it again. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who's helped me, TES Benefactor, and actually the Discord that I was invited into. I wanted to just mention because they're very helpful and super nice people. The Older Scrolls. And it is a Discord devoted to the lesser known Elder Scrolls games, or just the older ones. The reason I joined this and have needed help was the last time I streamed Arena, which was since the last show. I continued my search for the Halls of Colossus in an incredibly tediously long dungeon, quote unquote. It was the same place I was in before for 4 more hours. And as I got through there, it devolved into I found every wrong way possible, and there was one room that I didn't get to, and it was in the bottom west corner of the 3rd level of this map, and I'm like, finally, there's no place else to go unless there's another floor to this place. I've got this. And as I try to swim there, I bump into an invisible wall, and I can't get through. And I'm like, well, that's not good. So I notice there's a second way in. So I back up around the river. Water movement is very slow, and I make the same splashy sound 1,000 times. I go in the other direction, and the same thing happens. I'm just blocked on this invisible wall, and I start taking damage. Just trivial damage. It's not that bad. And I can't figure out what to do. So I try figuring it out for a while, and I'm stumped, and I believe it was clipped. People were joking that you could literally see my heart break on stream when I was like, I've encountered a bug. Like, I'm screwed. I can't get into this room. So I look it up, and that's totally where the artifact is that I need. That's where the Raststone is. It's literally in the room 7 feet away from me. And there are 2 invisible walls blocking me from getting into the room. And this kid says, and then I got diseased. Yes. I believe I got the Red Death at that point. So,
the arena experience.
So I ended the stream, and I was like, okay, maybe I can figure something out. So I looked this up, and you Google this, and you can just type in the dungeon name, and your result is, I'm glitched out of the room. How do I get it to the artifact I need? I was like, oh no, this is a thing. And it turns out that there is an enemy above where the waterway is, and its hitbox goes far enough down that if he happens to walk in the same direction of you, it's the sprite model that will block me from getting to the room. And that's the problem. There are several different ways to find ways around it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm super beat up. I'm really damaged. I'm not going to bore people with me trying to do this on stream, which in the end, I wish I had done this, because with 7 hit points and curing the red, or I couldn't cure the red death because I was out of potions. So I needed to get back to town to repair my gear, to heal myself, to cure myself. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just go back. And I learned a valuable lesson. When you leave a level of a dungeon in Arena, it resets it back to factory defaults.
Oh no.
Meaning all the enemies go exactly back to where they were originally.
Oh,
no.
So I was on the 3rd level down and needed to get back to the surface with 7 hit points and the red death and broken equipment. I died 41 times off stream trying to bypass this for people. And I was like, I should have just filmed this for 2 hours because everybody just likes watching me die anyways. I got back to town. I repaired my gear. I bought some sweet pants of levitation because I was like, oh, maybe I can levitate into the room. I go back down. I dig my way through that whole thing, which is much faster when you have real gear. And I find out that my character is too stupid to use the pants of levitation because I have no intelligence. So I can't even do that. So I bought those for nothing. Yeah, so at which point I just was like, well, I don't know what to do. I guess I'm just screwed. At which point, that was when I posted a video of me trying literally anything I could think of, or it was a picture. I kept trying different approaches to get in, and I was speed reloading, and I was trying to glitch myself through a wall. And I actually overloaded the memory of the game, and the game crashed, but not before it said, like, memory corrupt data, and Abner Tharn went all tie-dye when he was mocking me because I died. And that was when Benefactor invited me to the Elder Scrolls, and they have given me some new methods, which I will be doing on stream, because apparently even when I think something is going to be simple, it's not in that game, so I might as well just stream anything I do. Apparently there is a spell in the game that allows you to literally blow up geometry.
Wow.
Which I can only assume will work flawlessly without any problems whatsoever.
I mean,
especially because the first thing I read. Wait, go ahead.
Can you use that spell, like a spell that powerful, if you can't use pants?
No, I have to get it on an item because I'll be too stupid to use it. So it needs to cast upon hitting with the item because I'm a simpleton. The pants required me to use them like a skill. I was told that if I hit the thing with my sword, it should get me through because it will just cast based on connection. So hopefully that works. We'll find out. But the first thing I noticed about it when I was looking this thing up was, oh, it's weird that when I look up how this, I believe it's called Pass Wall or something, works, the first thing about it isn't how the spell works. It's a disclaimer. Don't use it on sprites for entrance and exit to dungeons, or you delete the entrance and exit.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, well, this is very promising. So, yeah. Once I get that, I heard that it is in the Imperial City. It's a predetermined location, so I'm going to go get this sword. Yeah, and I'm going to go pick that up, and then I'm going to try that. Hopefully that'll get me into the room, because otherwise I am in a rough spot in Arena, but that's the last time I did anything. Other stuff I did was in ESO. Huge shout out to the APF, which is my Trials Guild. Not only did we make it on the veteran, I guess Asylum Sanctorum period leaderboards, which I don't even know. Do you get points on not veteran? Well, whatever. They have leaderboards. It was the weekly trial last week on PS4. I don't know if that's universal, like across all platforms. But last week, it was, I'm sorry, not Asylum Sanctorum, Sanctum Ophidia. That was the weekly last week. And we have been pushing toward trying to do the speed run, because it turns out, unlike the rest of Craglorn, that speed run is no joke. Mm-hmm. Doing Sanctum Ophidia in 33 minutes is really challenging, because that is a long trial with switches to open doors, so you need to sync them up timing wise besides fighting the stuff or whatever. But the reason I want to shout them out, we stuck with it for a while, and then when it was the weekly, we kind of pushed on it a couple times. We came in at number 50 on the leaderboard, which was pretty cool. Out of 100 spots, we were 50, our guild run. And we finally got the speed run. We did it in 31 minutes and 18 seconds finally. So that was super cool. And I have now sped run all of the Craglorn trials, which is pretty neat. You want a good challenge for a guild that's actually like pretty good at doing trials and stuff like that? Give that one a speedrun shot. It's surprisingly difficult for a Craglorn trial, and it's like much harder than the other ones. What do you call it? So that was pretty awesome experience. Also went into, what was I going to say? The Depths of Malatar, the one where with the Meridia tie-in, and we managed to do our trifecta in there. Promethean was part of that group. That hard mode is a PG word nightmare, because I don't want to swear and make Ark have to edit stuff. But yeah, that hard mode is rough, to say the least. Speedrun's a joke, actually. It's not really that bad, but that hard mode and not having anyone die is unpleasant at best. That final fight is fine up until you go to the colored rooms, which then it gets real dicey with all the walls flying in from everywhere and the orbs just blasting people. There's a lot going on in that hard mode, so it is rough. So both the hard mode and the no death were a solid challenge, but we managed to get that. So even though Promethean isn't here, shout out, we both got our Sanctified Devastator titles from doing that. So that was a fun experience. And then the only other thing I figured that I would mention from my past 2 weeks in Tales is I've been playing a ton of Cyrodiil just because I have had a lot of free time, not having work because of the whole real life situations of COVID and everything like that. So I'll play in the mornings a lot. And the fact that I played Cyrodiil a lot, that's not really very interesting, whatever. But there were two events that were pretty unique and I had never run into. One of which was our side when pushing back the AD. Sorry, Pixie, but we were pushing back against your horrible, horrible rule of emperorship at the time.
It was the best emperor you ever had.
No, it was horrible, and we needed to dethrone the AD immediately. But while doing so, we're leading the campaign in Greyhost in the 30-day campaign, and one of the benefits to those not super well-versed in Cyrodiil is there's different things you can do to get points. Owning keeps, owning resources, having your scrolls, having the other team's scrolls. So we grabbed both Aldmeri Dominion scrolls while we were retaking the map. And rather than bring them back responsibly to place them for points, we decided to start a fight with them. So our scroll team actually went and attacked all of the other bases, and I've got some pretty interesting screenshots of just this zerg of us with these 2 scroll beacons just sieging keeps, which is not what you do with scrolls, but it made it really fun. And since it's obvious on the map where the scrolls are, it just turned it into a disaster, as DC obviously was like, hey, free scrolls, these people are idiots, so they rushed us. And then AD, who was trying to defend their own keeps, being like, why are the scrolls attacking us? So that was pretty entertaining, and it made some really great fights. And during this disaster, we encountered a very unique glitch, which I don't know if this is a thing that commonly happens. Everybody in the group seemed very confused, although it was funny. If you DC, meaning disconnect, while you're holding a scroll, usually it will just drop it on the ground and it will just start hovering. Somebody else needs to pick it up, and then they have control of it. For whatever reason, while sieging a keep, our scroll carrier hit a load screen because the keep was being rebuilt when we took it, and he DC'd during the load screen.
Oh no.
And instead of it dropping the scroll, because we were like, where did the scroll go? It teleported it back to our home base, clear across the map, and just immediately gave us credit for returning the scroll.
Oh, wow.
Which seems really, really unfair to the other side. Because they had literally, and that cut out a half an hour of trying to bring our scroll back, and we got the scroll quest. So it's like, yep, congratulations, you all win. And we were just like, that seems unfair. But we had a good laugh over it. It was really peculiar. The guy came back and he's like, oh, sorry, I disconnected. How far have you gotten the scroll? We're like, congratulations, you dropped it off. He's like, we were like 9 keeps away. How is that humanly possible? And we were like, yeah, it teleported back when you DC'd, so I don't know. But yeah, it was... I've never seen that before in however many hundreds of hours of Cyrodiil I've been in, so I don't know if that's a thing that's like well known, but it was certainly new to me, and I found it pretty interesting. But yeah, that was pretty much my adventures for the past 2-ish weeks or so.
Well, congrats on that trifecta. That sounds insane. I also misunderstood the definition of trifecta until last night. So I now realize it's a much bigger accomplishment than I originally thought, and I already thought it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one. I love the Depths of Malatar anyways, so like that helped with that one, because some of them it's like, okay, I don't want to do some of these at all. Moonhunter Keep. I don't know how you do that without anybody dying the entire time. It's madness.
Yeah.
It's one thing if not, no wipes, but nobody dies at any point. That is crazy for something like that. But yeah, either way, I was going to say it was a lot of fun. And I amazingly, as many times as I ran that place, I had to buy the last motif from a vendor because my RNG sucks.
See, I thought that trifecta was just at some point no death hard mode speed run. I didn't realize it was all at once for the title. Wow.
So it depends on the situation. I mean, if you want to refer to a full trifecta, yeah, you do them all at the same time. But also, they've changed the rules to them so frequently. Like, if you do a trifecta, like if you do all 3 of them, you get the Sanctified Devastator. But if you do all 3 of them at once, you get nothing.
What?
I know. No, I'm serious. Yeah, no, I know. Same thing with, there's an achievement called Mountain God for doing all 3 Scale Collar Peak ones at the same time. But you get the skin for doing them, period.
Yeah.
The Mountain God achievement would make an awesome title, which you totally don't get. It's just the name of the achievement. So
you don't even get a title.
No.
You get nothing. You get nothing from Mountain God. You get 50 achievement points and a pat on the back. However, in the 2 newest dungeons, Unhallowed Grave, and Ice Reach, if you do the hard mode, you get, well, if you do it on vet, you get something. If you do it on hard mode, you get your first title. If you do all three of them not at the same time, you get nothing. And then if you do the trifecta all at once, you do get a title. So they keep changing the rules.
Okay, I feel less bad for being confused then.
No, you're not. It's because they keep changing it. That's the thing is now when people, I've noticed that too. Now when people are referring to the trifecta, they're kind of referring it more to, well, you did all three of them at once because you got the trifecta achievement, but the old trifecta didn't require them to be done all at once. So we did the trifecta for the title. We did not do hard mode, no death, speedrun, Depths of Malatar all at the same time.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So to clarify that's what I was referring to, because it's just the rules have changed as they keep going.
Okay, that makes me feel so much better, because the way you just used it for your run is the way I was using it. But then I realized that could be like I could be saying I was doing something that I wasn't.
Right? No. It's because it's kind of got an extra tier of difficulty to it, which is also very cool. And the way they did it with the Wrathstone dungeons, I think that's really cool that they tethered it to, it's like, okay, that's an achievement type of thing. But like the fact that Mountain God doesn't, it's got a really cool achievement name with Mountain God, but it's like, that's not a title? Like what? Yeah. What are you doing?
And yeah, Mountain God would have made such a great title. It's
right. That's such a good one.
That would be amazing.
Oh well. I hope in the future we get some. I mean, see, that's the thing. If I'm doing an achievement like the trifecta, like the challenger achievements one, I want to be able to show it off. And titles are generally not enough to show it off because a lot of people don't have titles turned on by default. So give me costumes, give me skins, give me mounts. Like, if I'm suffering to the point that I'm crying blood, I should be able to show it off.
Yeah, I feel you there. I do like that they made skins and body markings in the new dungeons more accessible, where you just have to beat it on vet, especially since some of these hard modes are just... Like you said, it makes you feel like you're crying blood the whole time. I do really like what they did with Vet Sunspire, how if you do the insane achievement, you get a mount. I would like them, instead of just titles, to do more mounts, because then I'm more likely to be like, yes, I want this, and I will absolutely do however many runs it takes to get this, because I want that mount. I'm more driven by mounts and things that I can see than I am by the titles. That being said, I do like that they're bringing cosmetic items that people who just clear it on vet, which is way more achievable for way more people could get.
Mm-hmm. No, I like the tiered approach, and that's just it. It's like, okay, give one for doing it on normal, absolutely. Then do something for doing it on vet. Then do something for vet hard mode. And then, okay, now you did the challenger achievements, actually, which was the way SDT put it, that I actually liked. It's like, okay, we did the speedrun, hard mode, no death. Okay, cool. And then it's like, okay, we did all of them at once. That should be like the granddaddy thing, where it's like, all right, now we get everything. We've done it all at the exact same time, even. It's like, that's pretty cool. Like, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Like, yeah, okay, as Pixie said, it's nice that veteran also gets something, but reward the players who are putting in the time, putting in the grind, putting in the skill, putting in the tear and sweat and, like, blood. Come on, I just want to show off.
Yep.
That's my main thing.
That's my thing.
Right, at the moment,
I never use any of them anyways.
Yeah, at the moment, my character rocks the skin, like the body markings you get from Unhallowed Grave, and the skin you get from Scale Color Peak hard mode. So that I can show it off. Like, I can show that, hey, I've done these.
They match really good together.
Yeah. The symbols actually go really well together. Like, they complement each other. Except on the cheeks. The cheeks are a bit weird, but the center, like the forehead center and the overall body, they go really well. So yeah. Is that at Lotus?
Yeah, that's it. And our trifecta talk. how they should keep things standard.
All right, Pixie, what about you?
Well, we already kind of talked about how I started the Rivenspire storyline again. It's been so long that I just feel the need to replay it before Greymoor comes out, just so that way I have a good bearing, and so that way whenever we meet Gwendis again, she's going to recognize my main tune and maybe get some additional dialogue there. I haven't gotten very far, but I'm still working on it, and I'm hoping to finish it. If I don't, it's okay. But it was just something I've been working on. So the big thing for me, so I for those of you who've seen my streams, you know I have a death counter on my stream because it gets a little ridiculous whenever I run things. I don't know why I do know. I'm kind of a noob sometimes, depending on what I'm doing. So my deaths get up. They've been in the hundreds before on a single stream. Lair of Marsalak. So the dungeon that inspired the death counter was Vetscale Collar Peak and that hard mode attempt. I remember thinking to myself, wow, I think I died almost 100 times on that run. And somebody's like, you need a death counter on your stream. So I started looking into it, finally got one. And so that was a year ago. And I've been trying for that hard mode for a year. And almost exactly a year later, I not only got the hard mode, but Lego here is in chat. He was tanking. Also Dave's account from the Lore Seekers and Wandering Bard from the Lore Seekers, who also does our outro. They went in with me. We got the hard mode, the speed death, and the no. Speed death? Okay,
before we got in the dungeon.
Oh, I need to be asleep. The hard mode, speed run, no death, the challenger achievement. Not all at the same time. It wasn't the trifecta or however we want to define this thing. But we got our skins. And I had wanted that skin for so long on my Necromancer because it's a Necromancer skin, so I just kind of needed to have it at this point. And I might have screamed to the point where my voice hurt whenever we brought her down on hard mode. It was one of the best feelings ever because I guess it was part of me wondered if I was ever going to beat that hard mode because the last time I had tried to beat that hard mode, I died 87 times before I decided to just go to bed, according to my death counter. So it wasn't something, we worked on that for a long time. And we actually cleared the hard mode, I think in like under 25 deaths or something. It was kind of insane. Nice. Going from 87 to 25 and it was done. And then we were able to do the no death and the speed run pretty quick too. The speed run was really easy because the DPS just blew up everything. The no death was a little bit harder just because of all the stuff on the ground during the final fight.
It's hard to not have anybody ever die. That's always the thing. Having you not die, if you're being careful, having nobody die is always what makes those tricky.
Especially because everything in there for that last boss is a one-shot, pretty much. And so if you just accidentally stand in the wrong spot or dodge roll instead of run, that's the part that makes those things so infuriating is you can't control anybody else. It's not like you have a remote control on everyone else's character. So you can't be like, no, get out of the poop. And it's just too late at that point. And at the same time, I'm also one of those people who is to blame for accidentally standing in things because I'm paying attention to what else I'm doing. And it's just really hard. Like if it was no group wipes, it would be a million times easier.
Oh yeah, that'd be super easy.
Yeah, then we'd be fine. We would have gotten that right away. But it was really, really, really fun. It was a great night. And then we were like, okay, this worked out really, really well. Let's get the Necromancer personality next. And we'll do that next week. So that was last Friday. So then yesterday, we went into Vetfangler. And we're like, we're just gonna, I think we started out just saying, like, let's try for the no death, and then somebody died just because it's that Fanglair, and it's easy to...
Yeah, because it's Fanglair, and somebody always dies.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're like, okay, hard mode it is. So we get to the final boss and we start hard moding. And this was my first time ever attempting the hard mode in Fanglair. And so Vet Fanglair to me, non-hard mode, feels significantly easier to me than non-hard mode Vet Scalecaller Peak. I don't know if it's just because of the mental block I have with Vet Scalecaller Peak. Now it seems easy just because of how many times I've ran it, trying to get that hard mode achievement for Scalecaller. But back whenever I was still running both of these dungeons really, really frequently because I was really good about doing my pledges every day, Fanglair just felt easier to me. And apparently I was horribly mistaken whenever it comes to the hard mode. And so I never attempted it, but everyone was kind of walking me through the mechanics and what gets added with hard mode and what I need to be doing. And I was like, I just have to get an interrupt and I just have to not get hit by some ghosts on the final phase. It doesn't really sound that bad, and I don't understand why people get so upset about this one. And I was like, I guess I'll just wait and see. So then I'm like, okay, I have Crushing Shock slotted, so I'm going to be on interrupts, and I just have to pay attention to the boss. It's just going to be like Celine, and she was annoying, but it's fine. And then I realized he likes to hide behind his dragon. And also, just slightly next to his dragon, where the dragon's hitbox will absorb whatever I'm aiming directly at him. So I'm like, I'm just going to tab target him at all times, and it's going to be fine. And it's still, the dragon's hitbox would absorb his hits sometimes. Now, this was not the case all of the time. Sometimes I was just not looking at him and didn't notice that he was right behind me. And so then I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off because everybody was dying and I was panicking, couldn't find the dude. So my strategy that seemed to work the best was keeping an eye on him and just keeping him in my peripheral as much as I could while he was up on his platforms, because then you could see his big blue light go to wherever he's going to go, and you have like half a second to like get over to him and start to attack him. Then I noticed there were times where if the DPS would tick the damage on the boss to where it needed to be to start the crystal phase, he would immediately teleport like he was going to do his attack. So I'd be ready on the interrupt, but then he'd shoot over to the crystal. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're skipping this one then. He's not going to do the attack. But then as soon as he was done with the crystal, he would start that attack. And it took me forever to figure out that that's what was happening, because it would just be like everybody would just start dying after the crystal. I was like, what is going on? And so eventually I got that. But there were still times where like he'd just be in an unfortunate spot, either completely across the map from me or behind the dragon or too close to the dragon. And I was getting really frustrated with that part of it. And the first few times we got, I think on pull number 4, we actually got him down to like 19% health in the second phase. So after he'd already been like possessed by the dude. So we were doing really good. But then RNG would just screw us right after that.
Yeah.
And so we would have like one really, really good run, and then the next run would be completely bad. Like we would die almost immediately. And it was just that kind of emotional roller coaster all night. And it felt like, so we were in there for 3 hours, and it felt like we had died a million times. But it was only, my death counter only said 33. Now, granted, this is a manual death counter, so I might have missed some, but at most it would be like 40. But that's, I mean, I said I died 87 times with Scalecaller in one night. But it was because these deaths would take so long, because we would have the boss almost dead when one of us would get hit by the ghost, and then if one of us would go down, and if I didn't just so happen to have my Necromancer ult ready, we'd all just wipe. And that tended to be how it was. Is I'd get someone up, and then we would either res at a bad time, or I would then step into it because I was too busy looking for the person to res, and then I would step into a ghost, and then we were just screwed. And so it was just, I feel like next time we go in there, not sure when that's going to be yet, but I feel like next time we go in there, it's going to be a little bit better. It's just fighting against RNG and just trying to keep a cool head. There were a lot of times where I panicked when I shouldn't have. But it was a really cool learning experience, and goes to show that how, on paper, something might seem a lot easier than another dungeon, whenever really it's just not.
Sure. Yeah, no, for sure.
It was a pain, but I will have that Necromancer personality. It might take me a year, like Scalecaller Peak did, but I'm going to never take it off once I get it.
Yeah, it's just I don't like when RNG is a factor to something that's also skill based. That just that's something that just bugs me. And I mean, to some degree, a little of it, it's like, okay, well, the moves are moving around or whatever. That's whatnot. But it's just like, oh my god, the randomness of the walls is just like, oh my god, you're killing me.
Yeah, whenever it would spawn directly behind me, and the camera doesn't back out far enough. So even if you're standing in the middle of the room, you might not see it if it's coming up from behind you. And so we got really good with the call outs, and we were doing really good at the end, dodging them, and then just one misstep, and it's a wipe. I think the dumbest wipe we had was directly because of me and just taking directions way too literally. So our tank had said, whenever you're in the middle up close to the boss, it's like a trivial amount of damage so that you can heal through. It's not that bad. And one of the DPS, Dave, told me just stand in the middle so that way you can see where the walls are coming from. My idiotic self, who was also sleep deprived, took that as stand in the direct center of everything. And the poison damage is trivial because I thought that's what was meant by the boss, apparently. So it gets to the wall phase. I immediately run to the center of the poison and immediately die. They're like, what was that? Isn't that what you just told me to do? Like, that was not trivial damage. They're like, no, we meant general center of the room, not stand right in the thing that will immediately kill you. I'm like, oh, now I look pretty dumb. And I told them, I was like, listen, I take things extremely literally. So if you tell me middle of the room, I'm standing in the middle of the room. So now they know they have to kind of like think of every scenario where I could die and talk to me about that. And then it only vaguely relates to ESO, but last week I actually did another Animal Crossing stream where I made several more ESO outfits in Animal Crossing. So I did the Eternity Tunic, which is that orc one that you sometimes see. I just really like that green color. I think it's cute. So I did the Eternity Tunic, the Imperial City Temple tunic, the Sapiarch robe, so it's one of the motifs, not so much a costume. And then I also did a red Nequina robe that matches, and it has the blood rune markings on the arms to match my main from ESO. And that was pretty fun.
You're really getting really good at that.
Yeah, seriously.
Thank you. It's really, really fun, and it's a way that I can kind of like marry both the games together, so that way I feel like I'm playing both of them. I play Fashion Scrolls Online on Animal Crossing, and it just makes me really happy. But yeah, that's my tales for the week.
Alright, yeah, a lot of struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, so far, both of your tales were just tragic.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, what I've been doing. The week before this, I didn't play much, except when we did trials with the Lore Seekers. So I'm running trials with the Lore Seekers PC EU guild. I'm in the progression group for trials, so that has been going well. We are currently throwing ourselves at the Veteran Cloud Rest plus 0. The first time I ran it was last Friday, and it was my first time, so I was learning. I learned how tedious dodge rolling the griffins were, and how much bleed damage they apply. It's insane. It took me a while to learn it, and I died a few times to that bleed damage because apparently it deals up to like 179k, something like that. So I've been on the bird duty, just dodge rolling constantly, left and right, trying to get my bearings right so I don't pull it into the boss. But thankfully Luna Spear, she is absolutely fantastic at explaining the mechanics and basically like getting everyone organized during the fight as well, giving commands, making calls, things like that. So we got through it, we got to the final boss, and last week we didn't get it to execute phase. Everyone was still learning. We did get it to like 30% a few times, but then we stopped. It was getting late. And then this week, on Friday again, we actually got it to execute like twice. And the previous bosses went like a breeze. We didn't wipe at all. And on the last boss with the Zamaja, whatever it's called, we started getting it. Yeah, we started getting it to the execute. But then everything started going wrong. The server started to bork. My block at some point just stopped working. Like, I did a heavy attack and then pressed right click and nothing happened. I pressed right click again because like I was seeing the animation, the heavy attack of Zamaja, and I knew I was gonna get one shot if I got that without blocking. So I did heavy attack. I see the countdown from rate notifier is like 3. I'm trying to block, nothing happens. 2, I'm trying to block, nothing happens. 1, I'm trying to block, nothing happens. And obviously I just died.
That's so frustrating.
So I was like, okay, alright, that's nice. And then boss started doing this, like, what you know when the slow teleports, right? It does this, you know, rocks appear, shiny water geyser thing happens, and the sloat comes out of it. It would just go under. I would run to the next rock formation. The thing disappears, the sloat is not there, and then she appears out of nowhere without any animation. I'm like, oh shit, town. And as that started to happen, everyone else started to, like, Luna got stuck to something that doesn't exist. People started to not be able to cast spells and things like that. We were like, okay, server is starting to go down. But we kept at it, we continued to do it. And then we got to execute phase again, and another point. And I got hit really hard. I still haven't figured the execute phase exactly. But I was getting hit really hard, so my health was dropping really fast. So I wanted to cast my ultimate, right? I see the numbers like 267, 280, whatever. So I have enough ultimate. I'm spamming it and nothing happens. The visual of it looks like I have half the ultimate. But I know from the number that I have full ultimate. So I weapon swap, tried the other ultimate, didn't work. Weapon swap back, tried the other ultimate, didn't work. I'm spamming. And I died. And everybody else died as well once I died. And when I respawned, I had enough ultimate. Like, I could cast my ultimate. So that happened as well. So by the time we figured out getting to the execute phase, the server also figured out how to not get us through that. So we are hopeful next week, if the server is holding itself properly, we'll be able to actually clear Veteran Cloud Rest. I don't know the plans after that, but so far it's quite fun. I'm recording all of it to edit together fun stuff for YouTube, both educational and just, you know, us messing around and funny moments. One of the moments that gave me a heart attack was so the Griffin does a cone attack, right? I was so focused on dodge rolling the Griffin's light attacks, I forgot to taunt at some point. And you know how everyone stacks behind the Griffin in a like almost single unit? The Griffin turned around and did the heavy attack, like the cone attack. And this is like at 20% or so. They are about to die. I'm like, oh no. I saw it in my mind. It was slow motion. The Griffin turned. I saw everyone stacked up. Griffin raised its front legs. The cone appeared and I'm like, oh. And you can see it on my face. I have a screenshot of this. Like, you can see it on my face, like, oh. And then they, like, dodged it just barely. Like, from my point of view of the camera, I thought they were inside the cone, but they survived. I don't know if they got overhealed or they just avoided it. I don't know. And I'm like, oh god, thank god they didn't wipe, because all of them were there. It was just like instant wipe. So that was that.
That's pretty impressive, because that's like a lined up strike shot. It's just like, cool, 11. I got an 11-person kill. Like, oh no.
I nearly had a heart attack there. I was like, oh no. So that was fun. But yeah, so that was the Cloud Rest experience. Hopefully next week we'll get it cleared. Now, I'm recording these and then I'm watching it back to see what I do wrong. And every now and then I'm like, I weapon swap just as I get hit by the heavy attack, which means I'm not blocking for that, like, quarter of a second instance. So I really should stop doing that. That's one of the mistakes I do. I, like, weapon swap as I'm getting attacked.
Yeah. So, something I figure I should mention just because I actually have to... it shouldn't do that. Most of the time, it won't really cause that problem. It's probably because, like you had said, things sounded like they were getting a little dicey. But you should not have a delay when you flip, because if you're mid-flip, it's like holding your you don't have any weapon for too long, enough that something can peg you. Which actually, when we're desynced doing Vet Sunspire, that will happen to me, specifically on Red Dragon, the Fire Dragon. It causes a real issue if it's running fine, it's not a thing. You can just flip, no issue. But if it starts to desync or be weird or get laggy or freak out at all, suddenly, if I'm switching bars, it's like, I'm going to kill you. You didn't block that bite. It's like, I've literally never let go of the block. Like, that is not true. You're lying to me. Like, so one thing that might help you, I don't know how many crucial skills you have prepped for each bar, but when I'm having that problem, I actually flip everything crucial to my front bar, even though it's kind of annoying because I need to switch up my rotation or whatever. And then the easiest way to do it takes a little getting used to. You just try to one bar the boss and you'll bypass that thing until it either corrects itself or you beat it. Because I've had to do that for Fire Boss. I had to, like, the last time we cleared with my group, desyncing was a huge issue. That exact thing you're talking about where I would bar switch because I like keeping Heroic Slash on my back bar.
Yeah, same.
And I had to move Heroic Slash to my front bar and put chains on my back bar because I was like, okay, well, I'm not chaining anything this fight. I don't care. Just because I was like, I can't have that fraction of a second delay beyond that very small window because I'm getting smoked if that ever happens. So just something to suggest. If you're running into that, see if you can flip some more important stuff
my main problem is the muscle memory that has been set for 6 years.
It's tough.
I've been playing a Nord Dragon Knight tank for the last 6 years. So my muscle memory is super set in. And in Cloud Rest, you can't dodge roll. Like, if you dodge roll at the wrong moment, you get hit by the heavy attack because you can't dodge roll the heavy attack. And every now and then, especially when I'm like kiting the AoE, it's the muscle memory. I dodge roll. And I see the boss's like heavy attack ball fly to me at the same time, and I'm like, no. It's that like, oh god, I shouldn't have done that. Or you get hit by that portal cone, and I dodge roll out of it. It's instant, you know, I can't help it. And I'm like, oh god, I'm dead. Sometimes I actually die, and it's like, oh god, why? So yeah, well, basically things started to go wrong, and we started to die. But hopefully next week we'll get it. Another thing I've done is actually just like 4 hours before the show. We gathered with Ryan, Kika, and Sizz again for some DC and PCU European Mega Server Guild dungeon runs with 3 DPS, 1 tank, because the entire group has DPS mains, so we were like, okay, let's do it on our mains, right? And so we did pledges, they go well, and then we started throwing ourselves at Ice Reach hard mode without a healer. And Sizz is champion point 300 because it's he mainly plays in North American Mega Server. This is a European character. And Ryan is 700 CP. So no healer and 2 people not maxed out on CP. We actually got to the 4th witch, which is further than we got with Drunkenborns when we had full our dungeon team with a healer. So I'm proud of us as the DC and PCE guild. And it was a lot of fun. It is super chaotic. And without a healer, it is difficult to keep people alive through the tornado, the fire, the like stranglers, the witch, everything going on. But I think it is doable. I think we'll get it eventually. I actually don't know what happens after the 4th witch. I think it restarts, and then there's...
Yeah, you have to go to round 2, and you basically do the same thing, but it's not a so you know how it goes like giant, then spitty stranglers, then the phase that nobody understands because it's so easy. Oh shoot! I swore.
Okay, 2 hour 46 minutes. I'll read
that. Yep, remember that one. And then the guy who jumps up a whole bunch. The next 4, it does them in a random pattern. It can pick them just in any order. So,
okay.
Yeah. The only thing that's annoying about it is if when you clear the final guy, if you don't have anybody with fire on them, and it immediately picks the strangler one.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh no, because you have to then linger till somebody gets the flame, which isn't super long, but when those things are spitting 17k damage at the DPS or whatever it is, it's like, oh.
We can taunt them, right? Because I think we can.
Yeah, you can.
So basically, what I started doing was...
It'll go right at them.
Yeah, as a Dragon Knight, using defensive scales, the 50% damage reduction from projectiles, with the defensive stance from Sword and Board Shield line, which on the first projectile hit heals you for 7k, plus a massive damage shield for projectile attacks. So that's what I started to use, and as long as I had stamina, tanking both the heavy attacks from the witches and stranglers wasn't, like, it suddenly become a lot easier. As long as I had resources, that is.
I like that idea. I didn't think of that projectile absorption thing. Now that you've said that, I want to go back to do that using that and see if that, because that is like, I mean, they don't really even do that much to you as a tank necessarily, but it's like, okay, if you can basically negate it entirely and get healing out of it, it's like, okay, well, this is this is lovely, because all you got to do is just grab them before they blast one of the DPSs super fast, which that's the only thing. It's like, if one's behind you and one's on the other side of the arena, you can't taunt in 2 different directions at the exact same time. And if they both are like, you know what, screw this one guy, and they both spit at once, it's like, well, there's nothing I can do, you're dead. Like,
but yeah, basically what I started doing is, so, you know, you have to block or dodge the heavy attack from Witch, or you are pretty much toast. With defensive stance, I basically just click defensive stance and just take it to the face, take the entire hit from heavy attack without blocking or anything, and my health bar doesn't go down. The damage shield takes it all. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that way you can just like heavy attack, defensive stance, heavy attack, defensive stance, heavy attack, defensive stance. Given you don't get like fire, tornado, whatever on you, so you can keep getting resources back for your defensive stance. But yeah, so basically it was a very fun like few hours. I love riding against I think we make a great team, so I'm looking forward to doing more of that as well. Nice. Also, you mentioned you put chains on your back bar when you don't have anything to chain in a fight.
Yes.
Whenever that's the case, I put the defensive stance on that bar, because while slotted and while you have a sword and board equipped, defensive stance give you 10% block cost reduction and damage mitigation for blocking.
Yeah, I think I need to remember how useful that is. Because I generally use that, and I don't remember why I really kind of haven't as much over the past, like, I don't know, however long that's been.
Yeah, I even go with that on both bars sometimes. Like, if I
I can totally understand that.
So yeah, that was my tales, and Pixie just left. She was like, nah.
Yeah, so you know what? I've had enough of this tank talk. I'm out.
I think she does have wireless headset though. I think
she could probably hear us but can't respond.
Hashtag PixiePact, hashtag HyperPact Gaming. We'll see.
Yep. Don't worry, we'll throw those emotes up in chat real quick. There it is. Look how happy she is to be part of the pact. Probably just hearing this fuming from the other room.
yeah. So, Lotus, where can people find you?
Okay, so you can find me pretty much everywhere. Discord, Twitter, Twitch. I'm Lotus of Doom. And one thing that I wanted to just mention, I will have more details on it as we get closer. So next show, things should be finalized to the exact scheduling. Mm-hmm. But I am going to be one of many, many people, Berserk Zod, who actually raided us. He is also in this event as well. There is a charity drive called Feed the World that I feel like we're over 50 streamers as part of it at this point. We are going to be having a 3-day long charity streaming event on May 29th to June 1st, so Friday to Monday morning. The exact times and slots for each of the streamers will be kind of brought up as it gets closer. We're kind of finalizing things behind the scenes, so people can get in for different things. You can marathon for your parts. Some of the people will be doing longer, but it's all going to be kind of like a thing where we raid into each other to help kind of keep the fundraising going. And so mark your calendars if you want to help this cause. It's, like I said, it's May 29th through June 1st. And the concept behind it, it's run by Queen of Stars, which you can find them on Twitter as well. There's an official website, which we can give a link to. And it'll be on my page as well. Thank you for putting me in there, Ark. And it is to provide food and, monies for food for those who have been affected by COVID-19 and can't provide these to themselves the same way that they normally would, being they've been laid off and haven't managed to get on unemployment or have run into hard times. It's basically to try to alleviate some of the problem that so many people are currently facing with that. And next show, I will have, I believe, a definitive schedule in its entirety next time, and I'll have my slot specifically. But other than just me, I would suggest checking out any of them and donating if you can.
All right, there you go. And we'll just basically boost it up on DCN channels as well.
Yep.
As much as we can. And Pixie, what about you?
First of all, yes, I heard everything. I was just trying to use the bathroom before this part because, like, okay, I'm safe. Tank talk, I can just be in really quick. And apparently, you guys noticed the second I left because I heard your blasphemous talk. And so, no, it is not HyperPact Gaming. You can find me on Twitch and Instagram at HyperPixie Gaming and on Twitter at HyperPixie Games. And enough with this Pixie Pact nonsense, because it's not going to happen. If you say it enough, that does not make it real. It just makes little angry pixie emotes pop up in chat. All that does.
Pinging me on your Discord all day with elf enthusiasts also doesn't make it real, but that doesn't stop you, does it?
I mean, it makes me happy. Isn't that worth something?
Well, Pixie Pact makes a lot of people happy in chat, so...
Yep, clearly.
What can I do?
Yep.
We're just gonna have to step up the game then. I'm gonna have to come up with some more Discord pings.
Oh no, Lego just got purged by Nightbot.
No,
goodbye, Lego.
Nightbot, you're the worst.
That was a fun little clip of me denouncing the Pixie Pact.
I actually remember that one.
Yeah. All of this was created by Alvin Awesome Gaming, and he is really trying to make Pixie Pact a thing because he just really, really hates my happiness.
Well, you started it first. I'm sorry.
No, actually, no. I did not start it.
Angelo started it first.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say this went before I was on the show. This started way back.
2 weeks ago when this started, when Arkhaniir got started, it was in your stream. It was before I got there. I just encouraged it, and then also changed things in Discord. But I did not come up with that. Somebody else has that honor. And then the week before that, Lego started calling you Arkhaniir. It's like, well, that kind of just works.
That's because of Lotus.
Yeah, my first contribution to the show was making a high version of you. Ag was so proud.
Wow. So as for me, you can find me on twitter.com/Arkhaniir or in our DCN Discord pretty much all times of the day because it looks like I'm not sleeping. So if you want to join our Discord, go to dungeoncrawlernetwork.com or ask us for an invitation on any platform. We are on Twitter at Tales of Tamriel or Twitter at DungeonCrawlNet, like not crawler but crawlnet because again, Twitter's limitations. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/DungeonCrawlerNetwork. We have a Patreon where you can support us in addition to Twitch, patreon.com/DungeonCrawlerNetwork. Both Twitch subscriptions and Patreon comes with benefits like exclusive content and things like that, your own private Discord channel, which I urge you to join because that's where I share the most of the exclusive content to. You can consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. That helps people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, sometimes it matters, and do not leave the review with a comment saying Arkhaniir and stuff like that. Slaps only, that's for you.
So absolutely leave it saying how much Arkhaniir loves elves next. He's just offended that somebody didn't mention his just undying love for Queen Irene.
No. So, again, if you want to support us in other ways, tell a friend about us, bring them here, lurk on Twitch, follow us on Twitch, and all the things like that. There are more than one ways to support us, and we would love to grow our community so we get to meet more awesome people, hopefully less Guar fans and Aldmeri Dominion fans, but if you are, it is what it is. We have a co-host on the show that is the same. You can't pick and choose sometimes who you are friends with. It just happens. Thank you all so very much for joining on this episode of Tales of Tamriel. We will see you all next week. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.